Hey guys, it's me, Vinny Benuso. I'm back with another time with Bill Carroll and Zennie Abraham, of course, here on Zennie 62 Media. Here, we got a matchup that could potentially, assuming this is just assuming that we're going based on just paper alone, this could potentially be the worst week for primetime national TV games. You have the game today. You have the Panthers at Chicago against the Bears. And then you have the Colts against the Patriots in Frankfurt. Then for your Sunday night game, you have the Jets against the Raiders. And then for finally on Monday Night Football, we have the Broncos against the Bills. I don't understand why they couldn't flex some of those games. Okay, obviously the one that would be able to be flexed would be the Raiders-Jets game, but still, it's just crazy to me. Now, granted, just because it is a primetime game, and even though it could be a game that people are expecting to be bad, it could very easily be a game that's pretty good. If you look at today's game for Thursday Night Football, the Panthers and the Bears, both of these two teams have a top 3 pick in this year's draft. Technically, the Bears have both of them because the Bears have the Panthers' first-round pick this year, thanks to the Bryce Young trade that happened last year. The trade that the Panthers traded all the way up to the number 1 pick to select Bryce Young as their quarterback of the future, well, currently the present. The Bears, their star quarterback, Justin Fields, who people question if he's even going to be on the team next season or even the future. He's coming in. People are wondering if he's going to be their long-term answer because right now there's Tyson Bagent. He's played decent in relief. There's some Zennie's
Zennie.
Oh, hey, Zennie.
Okay, all right.
Listen, 1990, you get recent guys.
I just have it muted right now, in case you're curious. So you get things all situated. Okay, so as I'm saying, the game is going to be tonight at 8:15. I'm going to look at the spreads right now. Okay, right now the spread is Chicago minus 3.5. I have the Bears winning this game pretty easily. Granted, I know the Panthers, they only have one win this entire season, and that one win was a last-second field goal victory against the Houston Texans, a team that also has a rookie quarterback. Granted, a rookie quarterback that's played a lot better than Bryce Young, but at the same time, the Texans give Stroud a much better chance to succeed. The Panthers have not, by comparison. And also the scheme for the Texans is a lot better than the scheme put for the Panthers. Now, having said that, looking at what this is going to lead to, Panthers, again, win or loss, it's sort of like a 5-team race for the bottom. It's between the Cardinals, the Bears, the Panthers, the Giants, and the Patriots. I think it might still be the Panthers at the end of the day, mostly just because they haven't played great so far. And with Kyler Murray coming back for the Cardinals, I think it makes their chances of getting the number 1 pick less likely. Bears could also do that. I mean, granted, the Bears, if the Panthers finish with the number 1 pick, would be getting it anyway. But still, Giants could easily get into that position based on how bad they've been playing recently. But they have a lot more issues than just quarterback. They need offensive line. Patriots, they could go for a quarterback too. Mac Jones isn't playing great, but at the same time, he hasn't been in a great situation to succeed for the team. There's some rumors that Belichick could be gone from the Patriots, and they're saying that he could be traded to the Commanders. I'm not really sure if that's actually going to happen or if that's just hearsay, but let's just see. Also, as it shows right here next to me on here, looks like seems to be what the A's new stadium is going to be like in Las Vegas. It's kind of cool, actually. I like the way that the roof kind of goes backwards, but I think that's also an older design, if I'm not mistaken. This is before the A's confirm that they're going to be doing land, but I'm not sure if they're going to have enough space in the Tropicana field, the Tropicana lot. I personally do not see Oakland getting an expansion team for the MLB. I think the Bay Area can definitely support 2 MLB teams, but I think it's more likely that if we get an expansion team on the West, it's probably going to be Portland, Oregon, or Salt Lake City, Utah. That's my personal opinion, though. Could be wrong, though. Based on everything I've seen, I think that's going to be where it's going to end up. And then Nashville would get the other expansion team for the MLB. Also looking at NFL news. Let's see what Schefter's saying. One other thing, too. Panthers-Bears. Of course, this is DJ Moore against his old team. The team that traded him to the Bears from that whole package that led to the Panthers getting Bryce Young. I'm sure the Panthers wish they had DJ Moore with them still. But, it is what it is. And without a first-round pick, they're not going to find a first-round talent that could really help them both in the passing game or in the blocking game. Just see Adam Schefter. Okay. Justin Fields officially is inactive tonight against the Panthers. Bears Tyson Bagent starts again. Panthers inactive tonight include Brian Burns, their star linebacker who has a concussion. Remember, that was the same guy who last year the Rams offered to give the Panthers 2 first-round picks, and the Panthers foolishly said no. And granted, I think it was foolish on the Rams aspect to give 2 first-round picks for him, especially as they're in a semi-rebuilding phase and they need first-round picks. And for the Panthers, it's foolish they didn't even get that, because that would have added 2 more first-round picks at their disposal. That could have really helped them develop Bryce Young as a prospect. But no, it wasn't meant to be, I guess. Also, C.J. Henderson, their corner, concussion also. Steven Sullivan, shoulder, and then wide receivers Laviska Shenault and DJ Chark, elbow. So, yeah, I think based on everything I've said, based on the injuries, based on the directions of both of these teams, I feel pretty confident in saying that I feel the Chicago Bears are going to win this game. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout or not. I don't know if it's going to be a close game, but I do feel confident that the Chicago Bears will win this game against the Carolina Panthers on Thursday Night Football. And I'm not trying to hate on the matchups, but yeah, just the primetime games this week are just not that great. Like I'm gonna, and this is a fault of the league for doing it and not. I think also a reason as to why they didn't do that is because like the new rules that have like CBS and Fox have stronger protections. But look, okay, Colts Patriots, you can't really change that because that's in Frankfurt already. Browns Ravens is not a national TV game, but Panthers Bears is. Browns Ravens, 2 teams that have a real chance to win their division, is not. Packers Steelers, that game's kind of but hey, that could be more interesting on Thursday Night Football. Niners Jaguars, hey, that's a really good matchup. Nope. Saints Vikings, 2 teams vying for the playoffs. Nope. Texans Bengals, same thing. A team that has Super Bowl aspirations against a team that's young and up and coming. Buccaneers, a team that's trying to vie for the playoffs. Titans, they're kind of young and scrappy. Lions Chargers, a game in which there's a team that's winning their division, a team that's trying to get into the playoffs. This one, that one's not that great. This one also isn't that great. Commanders Seahawks could be sneakily good. Jets Raiders, I understand that there's mostly Raiders fans that here, but I'm not sure about that as a Sunday night game matchup. I think. Oh, Zennie's here. How you doing, Zennie?
I am alive.
You are indeed alive, and in fact, you are here with me. You excited for football today, Thursday night, Panthers Bears?
very excited. Hold on a second. I just need to make sure that. Hold on. There's something missing here.
No problem. I'm going to tell everyone the uniform matchup too for today.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how both teams do because they're both cellar dwellers right now. They're not the best teams.
No.
Oh, and did you monetize this or should I?
You could do it. I'm just showing. I'm showing people the matchup for the uniform matchup.
Okay, I'll do it. All right. Let me
Okay.
turn this down a little bit. Sorry, folks. We're doing maintenance on the fly here. There we go.
No
All right.
worries.
Okay.
In case anyone's curious, this is the uniform matchup for today.
I'm
for
curious.
the Bears. Okay. This website, Gridiron Uniforms, please give them a follow. The guy that runs this has done a phenomenal job going back to like the very early days of the NFL and documents every single uniform that each team wore. It's honestly really incredible, as well as the channel they were on, the broadcasters, everything. Truly amazing job. But this is what the field's going to look like, regular Bears. This has not been updated, but the Panthers will be wearing their black pants for this week. And the Bears will be wearing their orange alternates, which I actually really dig. I like the orange jersey. Yeah, I really like their orange jersey. And the addition of the alternate helmet has given the chance for an orange helmet with a blue C. Like, I would love to see the Bears have a white helmet with that bear head logo and call it polar bear alternate. That would be
no, you didn't say that, did you?
Polar bears.
Now, see, my favorite Chicago Bear uniform is the classic blue with white pants.
Yeah, it's very iconic. The Panthers.
I think of Dick Butkus.
Yeah, with the white C. R.A.P. By the way, Dick Butkus. The Panthers. I've always wondered this with the Panthers. They're called the Panthers. They're a team that has a panther as its logo, and yet for whatever reason, the team does not use its really sharp-looking black helmet that they have as an alternate more often. Like, it's just kind of weird that your team.
No, Vinny, for a second there, I thought you were going to say for whatever reason they don't play like Panthers; they play like Pussycats.
Well, yeah, they haven't been playing like Panthers. They've been playing like Pussycats, and the Bears have been playing like Grizzlies either. They've been playing like teddy bears. So you have the Pussycats and the Teddy Bears against each other on Thursday Night Football. Both teams have a top 3 pick. Both of them are going to the Teddy Bears. But in a way, I know I'm like hating on this matchup because I can't really blame the schedule makers that much because I'm not sure they expected both teams to be in this predicament. But sometimes the matchup that looked like the worst on paper can sometimes be the best matchups of the week. I remember a few years ago, it was a Niners-Rams game. I think it was like 2017. And both the Niners and the Rams were really, really bad the previous year. And a lot of people expected this to be a very, very bad matchup. But instead, it was one of the best games of the year. It was very high octane, very high-powered offenses. The defenses also shut down games when they needed to. It was a really, really cool affair. So yeah, that's going to be the matchup for the uniform. Of course, Amazon Prime. You have Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit as your play-by-play and color commentator, and Kaylee Harding is going to be the sideline reporter of the game. So this is the first matchup that the Panthers and Bears have had against each other since 2020. More likely, if both finish last in their division, they're going to be against each other next year because that's how the schedule works. Like, you're going to be against an interdivision opponent once every 3 years, but then an alternate.
I got to ask you, though, Vinny, what do you think of this? What do you think of the Bears quarterback? We never talked about him. What do you think?
Tyson Bagent?
Yeah.
Whose father is a professional championship arm wrestler. Came from a D2 school. I think, in considering the circumstances, I think he's done a really good job. Granted, last week in the fourth quarter it wasn't the best because of the turnovers, but especially considering the circumstances, he's done a pretty decent job. Like, he really has. I would not be shocked if, I don't know if they will, if the Bears decide to shut down Justin Fields and I guess embrace the tank by just going with Tyson Bagent the rest of the way. I don't know if they would do that, but they could do that, and I wouldn't rule that out of the realm of possibility.
I think that would be stupid. The only reason I think it would be stupid is because, look, Justin Fields wasn't doing bad until he got injured.
Yeah, it would be a pretty dumb decision personally.
So I'm just not for that. I think, plus, look carefully. They're not running the same plays with these guys.
No, they aren't.
So I can't compare him with Justin Fields because they quite clearly are asking him to do different things. The Fields, he runs a little bit, but not the same. And my point is, he's a backup. He's not supposed to come in and suck. He's supposed to come in and do well.
No, and if you're supposed to go in to try to
just because he
tank
does
your
well
season,
doesn't mean he has to be replaced.
yeah, and not only that, I don't think it would really send a good message to your team if you just have Bajan in with the idea of what's tank for a top pick. That's not a good way of doing that, and your team could seriously get fined for it. They could seriously get fined if there is a collusion that claims, "Oh, we have Bajan in to try to tank the rest of the season." No, that would be terrible.
I'm not a fan of Matt Eberflus. I think
Eberflus is not a good coach.
Eberflus, whatever Flus, it's a Flus to have him keep going as coach. They're not going to get. I'm eating death by chocolate ice cream, folks. They're not going to get the playoffs out of Matt Eberflus. Okay.
No,
the reason is that fundamentally, he doesn't have a system that he sticks with. On defense, his linebackers play off the ball way too far. He doesn't understand how to bring his linebackers up to shut down the run. His defense, so the Bears' defenses under this guy become a sieve, and I can't stand watching the Bears because of that.
It's even worse considering that if you consider the fact that Eberflus has a background in defense, and his defense is like those sieves that you'd put the flour in. Think of the sieve as the Bears defense, and think of the flour that's being passed through as anyone's running game or passing game. It's embarrassing.
And schematically, they leave what are called bubbles. Let's say this is the center.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guard. This is the guard. All right.
Yeah.
Commonly in a 4-3, the middle linebackers here over the center.
Of course, yeah.
Defensive tackle. That's a bubble area. Wherever the linebacker is, but the Bears leave these huge bubble areas that I can just drive block and gain yardage. It's their alignment is such that the Bears defense is toast before the ball is snapped. Toast. So
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of the Bears blaming their offense when it's really their defense that's not giving them the ball in critical situations. Enough of this. Get another coach. Give gosh.
Did someone just give Eric Bieniemy a job already? Seriously,
yeah,
it's been forever.
he would be great for Justin Fields, I think.
I mean, considering the league is going in a direction where they're prioritizing young offensive-minded coaches, I mean, I have no problem with having a defensive coach, but your defense is terrible. Like, if you want to if you think Justin Fields deserves the fifth-year option, which I do think he does, is he up for the fifth-year option after this year?
No, just got there.
Well, no, it's like 3 years in your rookie deal, and then before you go into your fourth year, the team decides whether or not they want to give you the fifth-year option on your contract.
So this will be his fourth year coming up.
Yes, if I'm the Bears, and if I want to give my young quarterback the fifth-year option, I better make sure I have a experienced young offensive mind that can help develop him with his best scheme, with his best play style, and you try to help build around that. Not only that, if I'm the Bears and if you have 2 top 3 or top 5 picks, I would make sure both of those picks are dedicated to helping my young quarterback. So I would try to find a top quality offensive linemen because their line has not been good, and then also give them another receiving option to pair with DJ Moore there. Give him like a real legit number one wide receiver. And DJ Moore is a pretty good receiver, but you could do more to help build him. You could also in the second round get a better linebacker. Just this Bears.
I don't know that a wholesale change in offensive line is necessary. I'd rather change how they pass block. Their running block was actually fairly decent. But what I want to change is the style of plays so that they execute more trap blocks, a variety of blocks rather than just zone. And they have more of a scientific approach to why they call a play when they call it. That
Definitely.
Data. They're not doing that.
They just aren't. It's
the Bengals do it somewhat well, but
what the Bears have done, honestly, has been asinine. And honestly, and this is no shot against the Chicago Bears, but the Bears as a franchise have been very, very, like, in case you're curious, as my age group, I grew up with the Chicago Bears as this team that is in a big market, but is consistently mediocre year after year. Like, ever since like the 90s, it feels like the team has been like, they've won their division like, I don't know, like twice, 3 times, and they don't make the playoffs that much and are usually on the same level as the Lions in terms of relevance for that division. It's mostly been the Packers and the Vikings there. In fact, the Bears have been so bad or mediocre that the lead that they had for most amount of wins in NFL history that they've had for a century has been overtaken by the Green Bay Packers. That's how bad the Packers have been the last 3 decades, and that's how dominant the Packers have been the last 3 decades by comparison. It's for a team like the Bears that have been around since the beginning, with a team that has ties to Papa Bear, George Halas. It's a shame that this team still doesn't know if Fields is their quarterback of the future, still is having disagreements about the stadium. It's honestly embarrassing that the Bears, they just seem like a mess every year.
Because the Bears don't care what they want to be. You could say, be the monsters of Midway, have the powerful defense, right? Why not?
Yeah, but they can't even do that. Their defense is bad.
But they don't design it to be good. Defenses aren't bad just to be bad.
Yeah, no.
They're bad by design.
Yeah, their schemes the scheming that they have for these defenses are terrible. They also don't choose the right coaches. And the funny thing is, like, they fired Lovie Smith after a 10-6 season where they barely missed the playoffs. If there was a 7 seed back in 2012, that Bears team would have made the playoffs and faced against the Niners, and who knows what would have happened. But since Lovie Smith got fired, who I think personally is the best head coach in franchise history outside of George Halas and Mike Ditka, no question, they get rid of a guy who took them to a Super Bowl, who took them to a couple NFC Championship games.
Yep.
And let's see the amount of head coaches they've had, okay? They went with Mark Trestman from the CFL for 2 years. Both times, like, they were 8-8 1 year, then they were last in the division next year. The next year, they take John Fox. They don't really have an answer at quarterback, and they cut him loose after 3 years. Then they have Matt Nagy, a guy who actually has had a winning record with the team, won Coach of the Year, took them to the playoffs twice, won a division title. They got rid of him because, Nagy was definitely the problem. And then they go with Eberflus, a guy that's had a total of 5 wins the past season and a half. 5 wins. 5. I would much rather have Lovie Smith right now, because at least Lovie Smith's pedigree was dominant. At least they were a team that consistently was a playoff threat. At least they were a team that had a stout defense. Granted, they still didn't have an answer at quarterback, really, but they had good years with Jay Cutler. But still, that was a team that was dominant, and his staff was also really good. But nope, I guess it can't be that way.
Nope. No, it's the organization wants to win a certain way.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to win with who's helping them win.
No.
So if you get Lovie Smith, it's like, oh yeah, he was our black hire, but we didn't expect him to be this good, and we have to pay him more. So then they make up excuses. I'm saying it's that kind of stupidity. Racism is a mental illness that has hampered the Bears with respect to Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith took the Bears Super Bowl. How do I know? I was there against Tony Dungy. I thought the Bears were going to win that for a bit.
They looked really good in the first half. I mean,
Yeah.
they definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those Bears teams were like, when I think of like the Bears as a dominant team, I generally think of those Lovie Smith coach teams with Brian Urlacher, Peanut Tillman, Lance Briggs, Devin Hester. Yeah, like those are the Bears teams I usually think of. But the Bears right now are just a mess. They are just a mess of a franchise, which I don't even know what it's going to be like when, Virginia dies. And I think Virginia gets a lot of crap from Bears fans. I think they've said some disgusting things towards her, things I never would want to mention. But when she goes is going to be her son, Michael McCaskey, I think.
Yeah.
And
Well, the younger McCaskies are always in charge. Not so much Virginia.
It's going to be sad when she goes.
Mike has been the man for a long time. And yeah, we'll be sad, but it's not going to be different.
Oh no, I don't think it's going to be that different either. But but they still don't even know if they're going to what's the Arlington Heights thing going to be like? Because is that actually going to happen?
Right now, as it looks, yeah. Chicago, I haven't looked at it as in depth lately, so I don't know what the latest news is. I can look it up in a second. In fact, I'll do that. But I'm not in favor of the Bears leaving Chicago, but I understand why they want to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a jurisdictional problem with Soldier Field that effectively cuts them off from making the kind of revenue they need to be competitive in the league. So the gold standard is the Cowboys, such that every event that is held at Cowboy Stadium, that money goes to the Cowboys.
Yes, AT&T Stadium. Yeah, because the Bears, I forget what Soldier Field's owned by, but I know it's not theirs.
It's owned by it's the Lakefront Authority, and I forgot that's a shorthand for its true name. But the way the ownership ties are designed or lines are designed, the Bears can't get, unless they change them, the kind of revenue take or revenue control that the Raiders have at Allegiant Stadium. That was a nice one with DJ Moore. Nice pass, rather. Or the Rams at SoFi Stadium, or the Jets and Giants enjoy at Meadowlands Stadium.
Yeah, I think the Bears what the Bears need, if they're going to go to a new stadium in Arlington Heights, I think the stadium needs to be either a fixed roof or a retractable roof, like all the major super stadiums. And you know how big it would be for the city and the Bears if they hosted more concerts, Final Fours, or a Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's what they want to do.
Hey, that would be very enticing. A Super Bowl in Chicago, that would be a huge boon for the city and the Bears.
Yep.
And Final Fours, I can definitely see it, but we just got to see how. It's just a matter of when, but we just don't know when. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I'm actually looking up right now what the problem is you're talking with, since we're talking about the problem, if you will. Let's see here. Bears Stadium. Bears new stadium. Let's see what we get here. All right, so we get Arlington Park comes up number one, and the Bears put out a purchase agreement on the property in Arlington Park, September of 2021. 1 year later, the Bears unveiled early plans to build a fully enclosed dome stadium on the property, as well as a multi-purpose entertainment, commercial, retail, and housing district. That was as of 2000. This was written, what I just wrote to you was written in NBC Sports Chicago, September 6, 2023, this year. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, yeah, it reads, then it goes on to write the Bears have said from the start of the process that they will fully fund the construction of the stadium, which is expected to cost between $2 and $3 billion. However, the team has said multiple times it will need help with the development of the other areas. Quote, we have publicly stated and repeat here again, if we seek construction of state-of-the-art stadium, we will not seek taxpayer funds locally or otherwise for the structure. If we proceed, however, this project would require assistance to assure flexibility, including our securing property tax certainty and support for infrastructure commensurate with public benefits the project will yield to the region. That's a fancy way of saying they need to use tax increment financing, folks.
Yes.
For the development to move forward and for this effort to be financially feasible, a public-private partnership addressing predictable taxes and necessary infrastructure funding for public uses is essential. Public funds for infrastructure will provide regional inputs such as improvements, such as roads for better traffic flow and water drainage for residents throughout the area. The Bears have said numerous times that the purchase and development of the Arlington Heights property was their sole focus as it pertains to a new stadium.
Right.
Bears lease with Soldier Field is slated to end in 2033. Tax issues cause change of course. The Bears have mentioned since the beginning they will need assistance with the infrastructure and property tax certainty. They seemingly lost sight of the latter over the summer. The property was previously valued at $33 million by Cook County. However, during a triennial reassessment, assessor Fritz Kagel's office placed the value at $197 million. That six-fold spike naturally would send the Bears' property tax bill through the roof. Churchill Downs, who was on the hook for an increased tax bill in 2022, filed an appeal, said their property was worth $37.2 million. School districts in the area which are funded by property taxes countered with $150 million. The two sides eventually reached a settlement at $95 million, which took Churchill Downs' tax payment from around $16.2 million to just under $7.8 million. However, that was just a one-year agreement between the two sides. With the Bears now taking over the tax bill, they will have to revisit the issue and try to come to an agreement. That $95 million number is the reason the Bears have started to look elsewhere, according to a team statement released over the summer.
1 second, Zane. My dad needs me for a second.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Anyway, I'll just keep reading this for the people here. So anyway, I'm going to keep reading this for you until he gets back. But the Chicago Bears' goal of building the largest single development project in Illinois history, led by billions of dollars in private capital investment and the jobs and economic benefits generated, is at risk in Arlington Heights. The stadium-based project remains broadly popular in Arlington Heights, Chicagoland, and the state. However, the property's original assessment at 5 times the 2021 tax value and the recent settlement with Churchill Downs for 2022 being 3 times higher fails to reflect the property is not operational and not commercially viable in its current state. We will continue the ongoing demolition activity and work toward a path in Arlington Heights, but it is no longer our singular focus. It is our responsibility to listen to other municipalities in Chicagoland about potential locations that can deliver on this transformational opportunity for our fans, our club, and the state of Illinois. What Assessor Fritz Kake's office said. Our mission, said, is to assess property based on market value. A spokesperson for the Cook County Assessor's Office said Friday. The 2022 assessment of the former Arlington Racecourse site is consistent with both the 2023 purchase price of the property and the price per square foot of other similarly sized land in the area. The facts speak for themselves. Other municipalities make a pitch. With the Bears and Arlington Heights battling over taxes, Naperville Mayor Scott Worley's sent Bears President Kevin Warren a letter offering Naperville as a potential home for the Bears. Quote, the city would welcome the opportunity to review your business needs and our available properties. What Worley's letter said. Through prudent planning, Naperville is accessible via regional interstates and Metro. We have several available sites that may fit the characteristics you are looking for in your future home. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Warren have had two separate meetings. Here's their last joint statement. Today, we met and discussed our shared values and commitment to the city of Chicago, the importance of deep roots, and the need for equitable community investment throughout the city. We are both committed. I'll repeat. We are both committed to the idea that the city and its major civic institutions must grow and evolve together to meet the needs of the future. We look forward to continuing the dialogue around these shared values. 10 days, that's a lot of gobbledygook, isn't it? But what does it really mean? It means we can't seem to get to yes. That's what it means, okay? And then it goes on. Quote, we believe that the Monsters of the Midway deserve the opportunity to continue the tradition of playing along the shores of Lake Michigan. Yes. With the market opportunity of having a year-round facility capable of hosting other major events, including the Super Bowl, the Final Four, and other events of an international scale. Here's Mr. Carroll. Let me let Bill in here. Hey, Bill, how are you? I'll continue reading this, folks. I'm reading about the Soldier Field situation to the audience here. At any rate, I will repeat that. We believe that the Monsters of the Midway deserve the opportunity to continue the tradition of playing along the shores of Lake Michigan with a market opportunity of having a year-round facility capable of hosting other major events, including the Super Bowl, the Final Four, and other events of international scale, Taylor wrote in her letter. Aurora is the latest municipality to try their hand at convincing the Bears to come their way. Welcoming a historic organization such as the Chicago Bears would enhance our bold vision for Aurora and will provide the Chicago Bears with a new home to begin the next phase of your storied history. We invite you to visit our great city to explore the exciting opportunity Aurora can bring the world-famous Chicago Bears. This almost sounds like a weird movie, like something John Landis might write. I'm trying to put that one together, folks. At any rate, what's next? Warren told King he hopes to come to a decision on the location of the stadium within the next year. After that, he is specific about the timeline of the actual construction. Quote, I'm hopeful that when the decision comes within the next 12 months, I always go by when a shovel goes onto the ground. I believe once a shovel goes in the ground, it's probably 3 years. The Bears kept Warren in to do exactly that, plan and build a stadium. He's done it once already. In Minnesota, he helped the Vikings construct U.S. Bank Stadium, one of the most prominent stadium designs in recent history. He's also not naive to the politics that surround constructing a stadium, especially in Chicago. In regard to why I can get it done, one thing I found out especially with stadium development projects. This is Warren talking. You have to create what's the why, Warren said, and what's the why for everyone. It just can't be what's the why for the Chicago Bears or what's the why for this group or that group. One of the things I'll really start thinking is what's the why? No matter what constituent group you put in front of me, what's the why? The more common the why that you have, the more people will understand. With stadium process projects, and one of the many things I learned in Minneapolis is you have to have a compelling story of what makes sense or why it makes sense. I just believe at this point, where we are in lifespan, the NFL, the Chicago Bears, that the time is right. I'll need to study the project and understand and learn, lean on other people. Talk with Ted Phillips and others in the organization to come up with what the why is. But those are things that I love to be able to walk the project and talk with constituents and groups and come up with why this matter makes sense. I'm confident with the intellectual talent in this state and the city, all the people who love the Chicago Bears will be able to come together. Remember, the Bears paid a hefty price tag to own the land in Harlingen Heights.
Yep.
The idea of selling it or developing it into something that isn't a stadium doesn't seem feasible. The Hallis McCaskey family have their money tied up in the Bears, not external interests. Jerry Jones could eat the cost of this land and find a new location at the snap of his fingers. The Bears can't yet. I put the yet in, folks. According to Warren on King's podcast, the Bears in Arlington Heights have a fall meeting to discuss the prospect of their tax bill once more. That meeting will be crucial in determining the real answer to the Chicago Bears stadium location. Right now, it's in flux, but it isn't cemented. That comes soon enough. For now, enjoy Soldier Field while you can, because either way it unfolds, the Bears are likely moving out. Hey, Bill?
Yep.
You're right. They're smack dab in my hometown city. What the heck is going on with the stadium issue, man?
Well, as you probably already know, because of its status as a historic landmark, there's certain you're not allowed to do to it. So
Right.
they're constrained, and so the cash flow that comes from a lot of other stadia doesn't come to them. So they've done essentially as much as they're allowed to do without violating the rules of what you can do to a historic building.
Why can't I just change the rules?
I mean, you mean like bust into the city with like armed people and force them? I mean, you can put pressure on them. They did try putting pressure on them to change
Look,
it, but
if the Blues Brothers can do what they did, I'm speaking half jockily, but seriously, where there is a will, there is a way. But in Chicago, with the politics as it is, my next question is, okay, what money player is standing in the way of all of this?
Hey guys, I'm back.
well,
Hey.
it's a couple of different things, but people care about historic things also. I mean, some of it is that simple. There are people who still haven't forgiven them for the renovation they did before.
Yeah, there's still. I know some fans, like our friend Jeff. He's like really angry. He despises the McCaskies for that alone because they were delisted from the National Register of Historic Places. They're still very mad about that. That's why. And I hate saying this. That's why some fans even send threats towards them. I don't think I've ever seen a fan base that wants to see their owner croak more than Bears fans. It's disgusting.
Well, I mean, before the sale of the team, I think the fans in Washington would have given you a run for their money. But
Good, fair point.
But
at least Snyder's a shady character.
Oh yes, that's putting it nicely.
Holy sail ball! Where is that going? That was 12. That was 12 feet. 12 feet in the air, out of bounds, man.
This is one of the few center city stadiums left, right? I mean, where once it was very, very common, Baltimore in the old days when they were the Colts, that was right smack dab in the middle of the city. You had
the Saints in the Superdome.
You had the Saints in the Superdome. You still have the Saints there.
You have Atlanta that did it near downtown.
Atlanta's very close to downtown. I've been to Mercedes, not for a game though. I was there for something completely different, but I've been there.
What were you there for?
It was a conference. There was a convention. At one point, back when the Giants and Jets were actually in the city, you had one playing in Yankee Stadium and then one playing in Shea Stadium. But increasingly, more and more of the stadia have been moving farther and farther out. And now, the San Francisco 49ers are a healthy haul away from San Francisco.
Yeah, Santa Clara 49ers, if anything.
I mean, that's right. I mean, that's not even close. It's not even the outskirts. That's like
40 minutes
other
away.
Right. It's essentially another metropolitan area. So we've seen the migration, and this would be part of that move to get the heck out of the cities. And as a person who is a city dweller, it would sadden me. I certainly understand they're thinking about the ability to monetize every moment, basically, from the person, arriving, or even not even before they arrive. Like when they're getting close, selling them stuff, hitting them with things before they even, park their car, which is not really something you can do so much with the way that it's set up now. They do have a pro shop and a few other things, but when you look at what other places have done, we talked about, somebody just mentioned Jerry Jones a moment ago. I mean, that's someone who, what the kids like to say, understood the assignment of monetizing the entire fan experience.
He did understand the assignment.
Everything that you can sell someone, and every way it can be sold to them, it's happening at that stadium. Every single thing that can be sold to you, it's being sold to you. It's amazing. It's almost like that scene in Minority Report, where as you walk down the street, all the signs change to stuff you like.
Yeah.
Like they're almost there. They've almost achieved that level.
Jim, I'd like to indulge you real quick. For those who haven't seen what Atlanta looks like for a Falcons game, here is yours truly at the Rams-Falcons game a few years ago. This is actually entering it. And this is a camera shot I've always wanted to do, but here it is.
Also, the Panthers have scored a touchdown.
Inside, this is the famous Flying Falcon.
Beautiful.
The last time I was at a Falcons game, it was at the Georgia Dome, which has since been destroyed for this. But take a look. This is Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is the home of Super Bowl 53. Come on, take a look inside with me.
Oh, nice.
Whoa. Wow. Look at this.
Huge.
That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Is this cool or what?
It is.
It's really cool. Wow. And not only that, keep in mind something else. This is a modern trend. You walk right into the stadium itself. You get your tickets outside. You walk right into the stadium yourself, and you're immediately, it's almost like the old Hyatt Regency atrium concept. You're captured by the sight before you, which is this. Look. See?
Giant ring.
Very cool setup, folks. Really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
IT professionals. What?
Yeah, so that's what it's like to be there. That was you gotta see the Georgia Dome. You have to see the Mercedes-Benz Dome. It's quite a sight, folks. It really is.
Yeah, and like I said, you can
Great
tell.
football sometimes.
You can definitely tell that it is a convention center. I mean, in addition to everything else, lots of events happen there, and you can have, depending on the size of them, you can sort of cordon things off. So you can have 2 or 3 different things going on at the same time.
Definitely.
Once again, is monetizing, like I said, and you can't quite. I mean, Soldier Field is at the other end of the spectrum. I've been to like events there, but it's it really does feel like sort of amateur hour when you look at something like that. When you see
Yes.
what they're able to do at Soldier Field. I've been to events there, and it's like, oh, look at them. They're having something at the football stadium. It feels like a football stadium. It doesn't feel like anything else. You can't make it feel like something else. If you get married there, you get married at a football stadium. You can get married.
Anybody, by the way, anybody recognize that Kansas City play that they just ran? They faked one way, threw back to the
Yes,
to the
I
left.
did say it did
threw back
remind
to
me.
the right to DJ Moore. Just saying that they've been a little active at picking up, stealing elements for their playbook from other teams.
Right, which is what you should do. And obviously, Getsy comes off of the LaFleur tree, which is part of the. I mean, you could trace it back, but the LaFleur tree, which is attached to the McVay tree, which is attached in some ways to all the way back to the Kubiak tree, if you want to sort of, which is attached eventually to the Shanahan tree. But yes, the elements that you see in this offense are they definitely want to be a team that runs the ball well, and obviously they'll run the ball even better when they do get Justin Fields back, because of, once again, the math problem he creates by being a running threat himself, and now you have to assign somebody to him, and that's someone that you can't drop into coverage. So that should help them in both their running game and their passing game when you have to start spying the quarterback. But if Justin Fields sort of pick up where he was headed before the injury, they should have a more explosive offense. Not that Tyson Bagent hasn't acquitted himself well, because he has, but he's a guy that was undrafted free agent. You weren't expecting him to at any point be a starter for you. So,
but here you are. I know that they better figure out a way of adjusting their offense, because I can now see the book about him and the Bears offense. Play tight, play man up, and force them to make a mistake. They're not playing, defenses are not playing as loose as they were initially.
And they should. They aren't pushing the ball down the field. But Fields will be back next week, and I think you'll see a different offense. I mean, they'll
loosen it up, huh?
Yeah, well, they're going to attack. They're going to attack deeper down the field. Fields has a stronger arm, and Bagent has a good enough arm. Don't get me wrong, but Fields' arm is in that second tier. Like, maybe not Josh Allen, not up there maybe, but in that next tier beneath that, he's in that tier. You have that super elite tier. Anthony Richardson's arm is ludicrously strong. Mahomes, Allen,
Jameis Winston.
Jameis is probably close to that tier. I'd say he's probably in that second tier, but he's close to them.
Jameis
He has
is
a good
first.
arm.
He just got hit the last time he threw. That's all. But
I mean, no, Jameis's arm is very strong. I don't know if it's like Josh Allen. Like that Anthony Richardson, Josh Allen there. I mean,
I'll take that bet. I'd take Jameis. I take that bet. Yeah.
Jameis is
I've seen the gun numbers, and once again, maybe his arm's gotten stronger since the combine, but maybe the other guys have too. But I've seen the gun numbers on all of them. He's a couple of miles an hour off from the guys I'm talking about.
I'll take that bet. Are we betting?
I mean, I can show you the gun data from the throws of the combine, so I feel like I'm taking advantage of you. But sure, if you want to.
But wait. If you showed the gun data for you have to show it for all of them.
Right. I know it for all of them. Sure. So the highest they've ever tested. So
I want to see it on paper. I don't want to hear you.
I can do better than that. I can even send it to you. But talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, I also do want to mention this too.
We're on the air, bro.
There's another factor,
right? But I mean, I'm getting something for you since you want me.
I'm teasing you. I was teasing you.
There is another aspect of Bears Panthers that not many people are talking about. Both of these teams will give up a home game next year to play a game in Europe. The Panthers will play a game in Munich, and the Bears, based on what I've heard, are going to be the first ever team to host a game in Madrid, Spain.
Wow. Field goal time, folks. With 2:38 left. Snap, spot, kick on the way. That kick is good. So now we have a game.
7-3 Panthers.
Yeah.
Jameis is 2000.
I'm waiting, Bill.
Yeah, I'm giving it to you. Hold on. So
Also,
in Jameis's draft year, let's see. Jameis is right here, right?
okay, Alex Trebek. Ken Jennings.
That's,
Okay, so Jameis clocks in at 55 miles an hour.
I want to say.
So
send the
I'm gonna,
doc-
I'm giving it to you. I've
Yeah.
got a whole giant list. Do you want the whole thing?
Yeah.
I've got it from 2008 onward. So here
Send
you
it.
go. I'm sending it now.
Data.
I'm giving it to you now.
I want data.
I'm giving it to you.
I don't want Barkley telling me. Sorry, you're Charles Barkley. I'm calling you Charles Barkley. I don't want Charles Barkley telling me, doggone it. Actually, I mean, in fairness to Charles Barkley, Bill is probably as far afield as Charles Barkley as you can get. Oh,
Checking some other stuff right now.
which where are you sending it, Bill?
Do you want me to like post it in the what do you call it, or how do you want it?
Email.
Oh, okay, I can email it. That's easy.
Yeah. Well, that's what we said. Oh, email.
I thought you wanted me to just post it on the what do you call it on the what do you call it? I can do that. On the notes, but I can actually do this. Okay.
I want it up.
Okay, so here's gun data from 2008 to 2023.
All right.
Here's a little fun fact too. This is also the first ever game, not including the playoffs, in which Panthers Bears is a national TV game.
Finally, the people have spoken, and we finally got it.
All right. I don't see.
I'm getting it right here. Let's see.
I have 10. You send it. Which email did you send it to, Bill?
I haven't sent it yet. I'll tell you when I'm sending it.
You slow, man.
I'm not slow. I had to convert it. I had to convert it from like a spreadsheet to a. Just give me a second. I'll be done in a second.
You're waiting a little too slow for that. I love hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, we're slow, man. Doggone it. All right, so while he's doing his thing, I'm gonna stop talking about the clock. But let's
talk about the game right now.
let's talk about the stats of the game. How about that?
Okay, right now, with like 2 minutes to go. Let's see the player stats at the moment. Bryce Young is 2 for 5 for 5 yards.
Ouch.
And so far, the only touchdown you have is a punt return from Emir Smith-Marset
from Iowa.
Special teams, let's go. And meanwhile, the Bears, Tyson Bagent, by comparison, is having a better passing game, 4 for 9, 47 yards. At the moment, the receiver with the most is, of course, DJ Moore. Deontay Foreman, also another former Panther, against his former team tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Cairo Santos kicked the field goal. Both teams have 3 timeouts with 2 minutes left. Also, a lot of people have been talking about the matchups of this week. I was telling Jenny that this is probably this season's worst lineup for national TV games. Because you got Panthers Bears on Thursday, and you have Colts Patriots in Frankfurt, then you have Jets Raiders on Sunday, and then you have Broncos Bills on Monday. Not the best of matchups, at least on paper. I do think that some of these could be sneakily interesting, like Jets Raiders could be interesting, and Broncos Bills could, but I'm not sure about Colts Patriots and Panthers Bears. Like, both teams have top 3 picks. I don't.
The Bears are going to blow the Raiders are going to blow the Jets out of the stadium.
I could see that. The Raiders' offense definitely showed promise last week, and the Jets, they did not look great against the Chargers.
If Raider tradition is now being respected, we not only don't lose to the Jets, we crush the Jets. That has been an old thing. Oh, going for the bomb.
Without the
You got
Jets
it.
played against the Chargers, you better destroy them.
Whoa! Did you see that throw?
I have it's a good
Bryce Young wanted us to know that his arm is better than his numbers indicate. That's what he just said.
yeah, that's why he was.
His arm's not his issue. The issue is his protection or lack thereof, and they don't have a lot of really tremendous explosive talents around him. I love Adam Thielen, but I mean, amazing story, right? A guy who was not just undrafted, he was a tryout player that got spotted back when they had the regional combines.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead. Because I have a question for you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sure. I was going to say he comes from the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, which is a Minnesota-based conference, and went to school on a $500 partial for basketball, walks on for football at D2 level, eventually becomes one of the better. He and a guy named Terry Dean that nobody remembers were the two best receivers in the NSIC that I was scouting at the time. And he decides to, instead of going to Canada where people thought he'd end up playing, he decides, I'm going to take a shot at this NFL thing, goes to a regional combine, gets invited to a tryout. We were guaranteed nothing, right? Unlike an undrafted free agent who has a contract coming in, his only guarantee is you get to work out. Shows up, gets invited to rookie minicamp based off that tryout, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and he was a star for the number of years of the Vikings, and now he's a member of the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Hey, Vinny, remember that Civ-like run defense we were talking about?
Yep.
It's at work. The Bears are giving up yardage in big chunks.
That's the real Bears football that you're looking for today. Not the days of the 80s or the 90s or even the George Halas days of yore. No,
Not
this
the
is
days of Dan Aykroyd, but whatever.
Yes, or the SNL skits and whatnot. Looking at the game.
Second City players. Anybody remember those?
Yes, I do know the second
SCTV,
City television.
yes. I remember
John
SCTV,
Candy,
yes.
Rick Moranis, Catherine O'Hara, Ed Levy.
Yep.
Eugene Levy, not Ed Levy. Eugene
Levy. But there was you're thinking about there wasn't Ed. Oh wait, that was the character's name though. Ed
Thinking of the character.
hold on.
Also
he's in the Hangover movies.
wasn't a
No, I'm talking about the character with the. Remember, he had the hair that kind of came up to the little point.
Was Dave?
No, but he kind of looked like Alfalfa. His name was Ed.
Was Dave Foley in that?
Ed Helms?
Yeah, Dave Foley. No, it was a character on SCTV, a repeating character, a popular Ed. I must say, that was a little catchphrase. I must say. Oh my God, what was the name of that?
Ed Grimley.
Yes, thank you, Ed Grimley. That was the character.
Grimley.
Thank you.
Ed Grimley, that's what I was thinking of, and his hair kind of did look like Alfalfa.
Yep.
Like stuck up.
Excellent use of the internet, Vinny. Nice job.
Yes, Ed Grimley.
Vinny tried to play it off like it came off the top of his.
Martin Short, I know that was Martin Short's character, right?
That was Martin Short, one of many Martin Short's characters that he was famous for on SCTV. Yes, but yes, Dave Foley. You have the Great White North, right? That was also one of the featured.
What's his name? Tony. What's his name? Tony. Tony. Name on top of my tongue. He was on SCTV. Rosado, I think. Was it Rosado? Tony Rosado, was he on SCTV?
I'm trying to think if who you're talking about.
Yep, you're right. I looked it up just now. Tony Rosado.
I know about Tony Rosado because he voiced Luigi in one of the animated Mario shows. It wasn't the one where he had Lou Albano. It was the two series afterwards.
Did you know he died?
Yeah, I know Tony Rosado died.
January 10th, 2017 in Toronto.
Yeah, several years ago.
Short life. Wow. I mean, not short, but I mean, that's untimely. He was born 1954. Died 2017.
Yeah. Andrea Martin, of course, I think was the other one. And Joe Flaherty also.
Joe Flaherty.
Yeah.
Kind of played sort of the lot of the straight man characters. Sort of he was like sort of a lot of those, and occasionally a mobster in some of the mob sketches.
Yeah,
Play action roll with Bryce Young, and boom, that play went nowhere.
with
A long developing short pass play. That doesn't make any sense.
for that for the
All
original
these
Mario
short.
for the original Mario show, you had Lou Albano and Danny Wells, who was in the Jeffersons. And then in the following two, you had Walter Walker Boone, I think his name was, and then Tony Rosado.
So it is now 2nd and 10. They're about to. Well, you would say they're about to score, but they're not. Ooh, someone lost their helmet though. Number 9.
Just a flesh wound.
You mean Jaquan Brisker from Penn State University? Brisker from Penn State. Yeah, terrific safety.
He also tackles briskly. Just kidding.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Wrestler tackles briskly.
Yeah, he's one of the young sort of bright spots in that defense, but they need a lot more. Both these teams are teams that, well, of course, the Bears are especially incentivized because they'll have the first pick overall in the draft.
Almost win this game. Grounder, 4th and 11. Panthers.
Eddie Pinheiro setting up.
Yeah.
Former Bear, by the way.
Yes,
a lot of former Bears and former
the Eddie Pinheiro revenge game is what this game is known as here in Chicago.
Really? Says no one. Really, or is that just a joke?
Well, I mean, it could be.
It could also be the DJ Moore revenge game,
or the Deontay Foreman revenge game, or I mean, you're right. There's a lot of shared DNA between two teams battling to see who against. Well, the Panthers can't secure obviously a pick because they've traded their pick away, but they can keep the Bears from having the first overall pick if they win the game.
I'm a lot more delayed on my TV. I just got the part where Brisker's helmet came off.
Oh, well then you haven't gotten to Pinheiro's revenge yet. Then
that's it. I gotta say, I really dig the orange get up for the Bears. Love those orange.
Halloween.
Yeah, the orange alternates. Yeah,
indeed. Orange makes sense because they're trying to squeeze the life out of all the viewers that are watching this game.
And so far, they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. Bryce Young throws at the ground.
10 minutes. That's weird. It says we've been on for an hour and 7 minutes. Why does it feel like 15 minutes?
I don't know. I guess it's because I've also been helping my dad out too. I think that might also be the reason. There's Josh McCown, an assistant coach.
You weren't gone that long, though. You were gone at maybe 5 minutes at best, Vinny.
Yeah. Eddie Pinheiro, of course.
There it is. Pinheiro's revenge. You've gotten there.
Okay. With Johnny Hecker, a should-be Hall of Fame punter, is his holder.
Oh, I got a question for you. What's the best food you've ever had in Chicago, and why?
I've never been to Chicago, so I can't answer that.
Okay, so Bill.
Okay, that's a great question. There's a lot of really good food here. Amongst, I'll break. I guess I'll go by sort of categories. Mm-hmm. There's my favorite places for pizza. One of them is unfortunately not there anymore, but Pequod's is fantastic. Pequod's is fantastic. There's a place that used to be called for thin crust, or what they call tavern style. There was a place called Adorno's in my old neighborhood, the Ukrainian village. Sadly, it's not there anymore. Owned by two brothers. That was fantastic, but they're gone. Let's see. For Ethiopian, I think it's a place called Addis, which is is Addis the one I'm thinking of? Ethiopian Diamond's okay, but it's not the best.
Never had Ethiopian food. What's it like?
Really?
Oh, it's great.
It is. It's
boy,
fantastic.
You don't know what you're missing, man. Oh, it's tasty. Done the right way in particular. You'll Bill, help me out.
So I have the great advantage of one of my best friends. Shout out to Reginald D. Lawrence. Is married to a wonderful, wonderful woman named Hawate Tadasa Tamarat. And she is originally from Addis Ababa, but she's lived in the United States since she was in her late teens. but she knows how to find the best Ethiopian food for obvious reasons. So I've had the advantage of having a guide, and so I've been to the best places, and yeah, I can say pretty definitively, and I have the advantage of having someone who's grown up making and eating Ethiopian food guide me to the places that are the best. So I would say in the top 2 or 3, just the name just had Demera. Demera is fantastic. They're near the top on my list. I would also sort of have in my top 2-ish or whatever. There's a place called Tesfa that is also really, really good. Ethiopian Diamond's solid as well. Those are the ones I'd throw out there. Those are the ones that I would recommend.
What about Lou Malnati's Pizza?
Lou Malnati's is okay. It's a place where like tourists like to go. It's not the best. But
you mean like in this case? Hold on a second. This might be a guy you know here. I think I actually know that guy. Hey, Bill, you know this guy.
Regarding the Chicago-based 2015 NFL draft. The city of Chicago has really embraced the NFL draft. It's been tremendous from that aspect. And, I'm a Jersey cat, as you can see. Rutgers in the house. I got to represent. But, being a Jersey, New York guy and experiencing the draft in New York City for so long, it's amazing what a difference it makes. And it's a smaller city, but the city's embraced it. Draft town is the size of 15 football fields, which is amazing. Because when you walk around New York, you really didn't know. It was a side thing. And New York has so much going on. And I really hope they keep the draft in Chicago. They've done a wonderful job. The city's embraced it. Could New York do anything like this? I think New York has so much other stuff going on. They don't have the space or the capacity because it would be, tying something up. And that's why they left.
Grace girlfriend saying no.
Yes, and, we've been doing so many podcasts, and we went to the Wrigley Field experience, so I'm losing my voice. I apologize for that. How was that? Who the Cubs game? Who won? The Cubs got killed, but we brought a little New York Yankee baseball flavor to the game. Anyone watching the game heard me. And definitely, I was 5 rows.
I thought I got a shot of the pizza we're eating. Hold on a second.
Nice.
Hey, those tickets cost $5,000 at Yankee Stadium, so we were fortunate to get them for under $100.
Hold on a second, folks.
Yes, sir.
You see, I had one with us eating this. I got a shot of the pizza we're eating. Okay, here it is. No, that's
Before Course Hero,
that's in
I
Phoenix.
spent hours looking for help online.
That's in Phoenix. That was the last time I went to Lou Malnati's was in Phoenix for the NFL owners meeting.
Yeah, well, Phoenix is becoming increasingly like Chicago Southwest. So many former Chicagoans have settled there.
Oh, you know
Why
what?
is that?
You said why?
Yeah, why did so many Chicagoans go to Arizona?
Have you ever been in the winter here in Chicago? So people get to a level of success or fatigue in life where they say, "I don't have to do this anymore," and they go to Phoenix.
Well, a lot of people up here go down to like the Carolinas or Florida.
Yeah, Carolinas or Florida. Or even my town where I grew up has a lot of people from Pittsburgh retired to Virginia Beach. Is what I've come to realize.
Really, people from Pittsburgh retire in Chicago?
No, Virginia Beach, where I grew up. I said.
Oh, I see.
No, they do not. That would be like, oh, this sucks. Let's go to Alaska. I mean, no, people don't come here to retire.
No, people around here retire in Florida or the Carolinas. It's generally the case. With
here it is, folks. I found it. This one should have a better one. This is actually Gino's Pizza. I love Chicago pizza. All right.
I don't think I've ever had Chicago pizza in my life.
What?
I know.
But you're very young. You're very young, Vinny. You have your chance.
That's
so when
true.
you come visit, I will take you to 2 or 3 amazing places.
This
Have
is on
2 or
the
3
side.
different
Bill?
kinds.
Guys, we got to do a field trip one time, guys.
Hey, Bill, you ever been here?
Gino's East. Is that where you are?
Yeah, Gino's East.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I mean, I've had
the brick interior.
Yeah, I've had Gino's East. It's solid. If I were doing like a ranking, it would be in the top 8 probably. It's not my favorite, but it's in the top 8.
This, folks, if you're wondering where this is, this NFL Network annually has its luncheon.
Let's see who else is here.
Someplace in the draft city In this case, it was Chicago, and this was at Gino's East.
Yep.
Nice.
So I'm trying to get a shot of the pizza so you can see what the offering was. Yes, he had
Have a lot of
different
pizza.
ones.
If you like pizza, is the right place to be, folks.
So everybody sat at these booths. Like I think that's Mayock over there.
Ah, yes.
Isn't they?
Oh, that's actually.
I know how it's prepared.
We got Mariucci.
Let me guess. You got the sausage, right? Because that's what everyone seems to get.
Yeah.
We got our content up
Yeah.
before anybody else did.
And Charles Davis is over there someplace. Hey,
I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat.
Speaking of Chicago, have you guys ever watched the YouTube channel Chicago's Best?
Sorry about that, folks.
Well, I know it is a TV show, but yes, I guess it is also a YouTube channel.
That's what I watch. I watch it on. I watch on YouTube.
Right, right. But yeah, I'm familiar with Chicago's Best. In
Sorry about
fact, we've been on Chicago. My theater company at one point made Chicago's Best years ago.
They didn't put any. The show finished 2 years ago. There's this British guy, Elliot Bambro, and also I think it was like Walter Payton's daughter, like goes around.
Brittany Payton.
Brittany Payton, yes. They just go around and they just have all these food. Like they have Italian beef sandwiches, which does look really, really good. They put a lot of the peppers in it. That's, I'm not really used to Chicagoan food. So it does. Some of it's a little familiar, but some of it's a lot different. It's also interesting seeing, the different. You see the Bears jerseys, the Blackhawks jerseys, all that stuff. It's always very fun. My dad was in Chicago a few years ago, in 2019, for a fair.
By the way, how's your dad doing?
A bit better. He gets an IV drip right now. He's been getting IV the last week. So I bring in the new IV stuff for him.
There's nobody on the Chicago Avenue. Look at that. Nobody.
I'm at the part where there's a flag on set 925. I think the reason why is because I have a Canadian broadcast on TSN.
Oh, that would explain it. Yeah, that's why you're a little behind.
Yeah. Also, it's because of
the conversion rate. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and also because this is it's like one of those websites. I'm not going to give it away because I don't.
I got it. I found the perfect one. I found the perfect video of my favorite place to eat and food to eat in Chicago. I found it, and it's from my birthday.
Ooh, what birthday was it? What year?
This was 2015.
So you turned 50.
Over 50, yeah.
You turned 53 that year.
Keep talking.
There's this YouTube channel I saw where there was like a Polish buffet he went to. Strictly Dumpling. I think he went to this Polish buffet.
Okay.
I forgot the name of it. Polish buffet.
Here you go, gentlemen. See that? Doesn't that look good? Yummy. Look at that.
Yeah, that's what it's the Red Apple Buffet.
This is it.
At Giordano's. Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, no problem, dude. Yeah, look at this stuff. Wow.
Yeah, my parents.
This is the.
That's Arnold. Stepfather. There's my mom. My lovely mom.
Birthday.
My birthday.
Thank you very much. Wow.
Look, I gotta freeze that right there. See that, folks? That is living. Okay? Vinny, you never had that?
Never. Not in my life, but it looks absolutely spectacular.
This is Chicago, man.
That looks... I will say, even as a New Yorker, I think I would prefer Chicago pizza because they put way more stuff in it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff. Yes.
Hey, Bill, you've had this, right, Bill?
Oh, yeah. I've had most of the major places, but some of my favorites are like not the big places you've heard of. Some of my favorites are places where there's only maybe one or two of them, and it's family owned.
Oh,
those are usually the best ones, like the whole
pizza like that.
The homemade kind of ones, like the hole in the wall places, family owned.
So when you come, I will show you my Chicago pizza place.
Wait. Tell me the pizza. Tell me the pizza.
I named some of them already. I mentioned Pequod's right off the top.
Equads. That's what Equad.
You've read Moby Dick, right?
Pequod. Okay.
Pequod. Yes, Pequod's is the name of it.
Pequod Pizza?
Yes.
Yeah, Pequod Pizza. Yeah.
It's a strange name, that's all.
Well, strange or not, the pizza's awesome.
Wait. So Bill has now taught me something. This is Chicago's favorite deep dish pizza. It says. They say. Okay.
But it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Yes.
That's what they say.
Well, they're really, really good. It's certainly one of my favorites too. I mean, it might be my number one. I have to really think hard, but yeah, I'd have to, retest. But yeah, they're
the budgeter, and hey, the season.
Hold on a second.
It's interesting seeing all these Canadian commercials for Canadian Tire, Canadian Jeeps.
Yes, right. Yes, for what's his name? The donut and coffee place.
I didn't see a Tim Hortons one, but I did see a McDonald's commercial.
Okay. How about
Tim
Labatt's? Any Labatt's?
No Labatt commercials yet, but I did get a Canadian Tire commercial. I got a McDonald's Canadian commercial, a Jeep Canadian commercial, a Subaru Canadian commercial. They're all very different from here, like very different.
All right, I found it, folks. Have a look. Bill.
Okay.
You talked. I listened. Pequods.
There's Pequods. Yep.
Yep, they're Chicago's best.
Yep, they're fantastic. If you like the tavern style, Michael's, which is also on the north side, is really good.
In the city of Chicago.
Ted Brunson, that's the other guy that was there. He was in the earlier seasons.
Walking around Michigan Avenue, standing in line next to some dude from California who doesn't even know the city of Chicago. I want something local. I want something good. That's why we're here in Lincoln Park. People are going to be going nuts on me. I mean, I might have to have a bodyguard. So you, please explain.
Bill, I got to go there. Okay, look at that.
Oh, I told you you have to go there.
Oh my
I told
God!
you before
Look at the little.
there.
You could see the onion there too. That looks so good.
So when did this become Chicago's best deep dish?
I would say most people who really know pizza start talking about Pequods in the late 80s to early to mid 90s. But when
was it created? Because it wasn't around like the 60s or 70s, right?
Well, it's been around for a long time.
How long?
Over 40 years. So yeah,
I'm 62. Oh, I'm 61. I'm really pushing. Okay, right there. That's what. Look at that.
It's a lot of cheese. It looks phenomenal.
Look at how big the sausage is.
It's like a whole clump. It's like the size of a silver dollar.
Okay, Bill, you got me. I'm sure
the size of a silver dollar.
So his first place wasn't Pequod's. The guy that started Pequod's, his first was called the Inferno. It was in Evanston, and that was opened in '63. Pequod's came a couple of years after it, but it's been around for quite some time.
Good call, Bill.
That looks good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's fantastic.
You gotta do a pilgrimage there one day.
If you're a pizza person, this is the town to come to. Detroit's solid. I mean, obviously, you've been all over New York, Vinny. There's a lot of good pizza in New York as well. I'm not
don't just Sbarro sucks.
No, I meant like real pizza places.
Yeah, like the real pizza places are pretty good. Yeah. Over here in Long Island, there's a lot of really good pizza places.
Yeah, there was a couple of places I used to go to in Brooklyn when I lived there that I liked.
Umberto's is great. Umberto's is very iconic over here.
Yeah. One thing I do miss about being in the New York area is like there's certain things you can't get every place. There was a South African place in Brooklyn that was amazing.
Wow.
What was it? It started with an A. Amateur and something like animator. I have to think about what it was called.
I never had South African food. What's it like?
It's interesting. It's a lot of different kinds of things all at once. So if you've never had South African food, you should definitely try it. New York's a big enough place that you should be able to find a place that has South African food. I found one in Brooklyn, so I'm sure Manhattan has to have at least one. When I was Burmese, right? You don't find Burmese. You don't find Burmese. You don't find Burmese restaurants every place. So that's definitely something that you can only find places like New York or Los Angeles.
Yeah, the ones that are massive cities, and Chicago is one of them. When do you think?
Come to Oakland, I'll take you to the Star. That has the best. Now that deep dish pizza is better than Giordano's, and it's Chicago style.
Well, I'd imagine so because I assume it's more of a local place.
Yeah, I mean Giordano's is fine, but it's not in my top 5. It's in that 8 to 10 range, like I said.
It's like if you go to it's like if you were to go to Philly and like Pat's and Geno's are like the tourist places. If you want to go to a real place, you got to go to the more local areas.
Right, exactly. I remember the best hoagie I ever had was a place called Casa Farillo's, and it wasn't actually in Philadelphia. It was actually in Wilmington, Delaware, and it was ridiculously good. But yeah, I mean, once again, a small family-owned place. It was like one of the old trolley cars that they converted into a restaurant. It was fantastic.
Wow.
If you're ever in Miami, South Beach, go to the 11th Street Diner, 11th and Washington. My friend Beth Schnitzer and her brothers own that, and it's one of the best restaurants ever on diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah, Guy Fieri always finds those places.
Yeah, he definitely found this one. Definitely.
You know, when I was a kid, my hero on Food Network was Alton Brown. He would just go the details of how the food was created and why it was created. Then he'd show you how it made it. It was really cool. I always loved him. He's definitely one of my inspirations. Alton Brown.
So the Bears folks are driving. They're actually all the way down, believe it or not.
I'm at the part where it's 4-4, 5-18.
In this scintillatingly exciting contest.
Oh, caught. First down, Chicago Bears.
Yeah. I have a run from number 25.
Darrington Evans from Appalachian State University.
Yeah.
Small, quick, sort of in the mold. Not quite as explosive as a guy like Tariq Owen, but sort of in his mold.
One other thing I should mention.
I'm going to get some coffee real quick. I'll be right back.
I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but
coffee, gentlemen.
I wish I could say so, but we don't have that type of communication just
I
yet.
get mugs to everybody. Zennie 62 media mugs.
There you go.
Oh, almost sacked.
The perfect stocking stuffer.
Stocking stuffer.
You're right.
Also, one other thing too, with the actors.
I check on my mom. I'll be right back.
Also, guys, with the actors strike over, they're going to go back to filming movies again and TV shows.
Right. Correct. Shout out to the negotiators who had to fight through a lot of different things, especially with the rise of streaming rights and all the other things that have come to play that have changed the way that we even think about how entertainment is consumed.
Yeah, now they got a bigger chunk of the pie. Now they're gonna have to wait again for another 3 years, and let's see what happens then. I also feel like, I don't know if you saw, but Warner Brothers decided to shelve their Wile E. Coyote in Roadrunner movie with John Cena, even though they filmed the entire movie and everything. They decided to shelve it because apparently, according to them, they couldn't find someone to hold the rights or whatever. So they canceled the entire movie and it was completed as a tax write-off, which is scummy as hell.
That happens a lot, though.
But when a movie's completely filmed?
Yeah, it happens more than you think. Movies get killed all the time that way.
You don't. I don't really hear it as much until Zaslav came in. He started killing Scoob and Batgirl and a few others.
Yeah, I mean it happens more than it used to, but it's always happened. It just happens more now than it used to. And what's happening is the middle class, right, is sort of being siphoned away in the movie industry. And maybe the streaming services will help it to survive. But the very top, the big time blockbusters will always be made. And then the very, very cheap films,
like the indie films, do you mean like the indie films? Or you mean like those like cheap, like straight to streaming kind of movies?
Well, I mean, both the straight to streaming kind of films and the indies have a chance to survive because there's a marketplace still for them, and they can be done cheaply enough to justify their existence. The issue is the middle class, right? The movie that costs 45, 27, 38 to about 60-ish million dollars to make. People are now saying, I want to put all my eggs in a big giant blockbuster basket, or spread out a bunch of my eggs amongst very cheaply made films, as opposed to investing in what used to be sort of the middle class, in between the two.
What studios do you see merging? Or like, do you think Warner Brothers is going to get bought by like Comcast or something like that?
I mean, any of them, any of the survivors are a target now. There's the way that things are. They're all, unless they've already been acquired, they're all targets for acquisition. So whichever one you name, it's possible it could be acquired. It's possible for all of them. All of them are a possible target.
I just wonder how that's going to be like, because like if you have less and less like major studios, wouldn't that be it's even harder to make a movie then? Or
Well, of course it's harder. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's harder. It's harder than ever before because the middle class is being hollowed out. People say that all the time. They're talking usually about people. But it's also true of the film industry. Like I said, the number of films has steadily declined, being made for over 40 years. And while the cost has gone up, and more people are, like I said, everyone wants to be in the blockbuster business. Everyone wants to make Transformers, 3 and 4.
But Transformers, but even Transformers has been bombing. Like the last several films haven't been doing that great.
Sure, but it's easier to sell somebody, even with that, on the idea of that or something like that, that people associate with a big giant project that's going to possibly make hundreds of millions of dollars, than to say, think of a movie like Ordinary People, right? Which killed in the Oscars in 1980. That movie would be harder than heck to make nowadays.
I want to make the next Blair Witch project.
Well, because it's cheaply made, you could get that made. The problem is the middle class. The very cheap, the bottom, the lower class of films are still being made, and the blockbusters are still being made. So where the hollowing out over the last 4 or 5 decades has been in the middle class of films. The ones that cost 27 million, 40, 35, 60, between that 60 to $20 million range. Very cheap films, you can still get made. And blockbusters, people will line up to throw money at the next Michael Bay film. It's the middle.
No, not
like
now. Michael Bay's movies haven't done that well recently.
Well, that's why I said the next. I don't mean literally the next Michael Bay film, but the next film that feels like a Michael Bay film, but not by Michael Bay.
Well, how about Top Gun Maverick, right?
Yeah, that was a massive earner.
Right, the next Top Gun Maverick, or the next thing that feels like, or the next
Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible, the most recent one?
Right, Mission Impossible 69 or whatever the heck it is. So
Did you see it? Did anybody see it?
It's not my kind of thing, to be perfectly honest. I don't go to see. I want to see things I think about, right? And so that's not a film I'm going to walk away thinking about.
I'll see it.
I like those kinds of movies, but I kind of like a bit of both. But I would say when it comes to like a lot of the, but with all the streaming services, a lot of those studios have lost a lot of money with the streaming services.
Of course.
So how will they be able to manage that? Like, will they just sell distribution rights or whatever to other like streamers?
Well, I mean, the hunger for content means that there'll always be a place to sell your crap. So that if you're looking for a silver lining amongst all the bad news,
he's right. Go ahead, Bill.
If you're looking for a silver lining, I mean, look at Tubi, right? They now have leaned into their reputation for having the worst looking films of all time, basically. And now there's a whole genre of Tubi films, basically, that were shot on someone's iPhone. And I'm not even really joking. Like some of these films were literally shot on someone's iPhone for probably, I don't know, $47,000 or whatever. But there's such a hunger for content. Quality control, choked to death on a biscuit 4 or 5 years ago. So if if it's something that can reasonably hold someone's attention for long enough to possibly sell them a car commercial or whatever the heck it is, there's somebody who will buy your crap.
Yep.
Yeah. What about like they're like, even though it may quote unquote be harder for movies to get made.
I want to show you something you guys don't know about, but should, since you're Zennie 62 and we're talking about this.
Mhm.
This, what I'm about to show you, is actually this started. I'm going to show you it briefly. I met a guy named Art Thomas at the 2008 Democratic National Convention in Denver, and he asked me what I was going to do with my YouTube videos. I was into my third year as a YouTuber and my second year as a YouTube partner. And I said, well, I'm going to put them up and use it. He goes, well, can I have them? And I said, no, you cannot. I said, it'll cost you. And so he went back and he came up with this idea for something called, well, I'll show you. This is what he came up with. This was on Colors TV from 2009 to 2011, every Saturday at 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. What he did was he took the YouTube videos and I send them in, Bill, and I put them up, as a TV show, and they aired it on television. And I'm saying this because this can be our future yet again with Roku. It's called Fast Channel TV. All right,
Right.
Just to add to what Bill is saying, but look at this. Colors TV was the place.
In today's world of high-speed connection, text messaging, and social networking, we often find ourselves searching for information.
Have you guys seen this, by the way?
Yes, I do remember seeing that. Yes.
Okay. Bill, you've seen it?
I think I have seen it, but I don't think I saw it in this context before.
Okay.
I have seen it, though.
Well, it's what you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
There are millions of blogs on the internet: news, sports, politics, and tech. But I bring it all together for you and present it in a relentlessly unconventional fashion. My name is Zennie Abraham, and this is the Blog Report.
There you go. That's where I know that music from.
Yeah,
that's where I know that music
up
from.
with this whole clock. To get on what you're saying, Bill, I didn't have to spend a dime for this.
No,
but now
right.
this is ours. All of ours, right? This belongs to us, and we can create our own broadcasts. We can create our own movies. We have the material to do it. So that's I'm just trying to show to Bill. And in this instance, I'll show you what this was. This is one of the most fun times I ever had. Oh, and this is cool. I still have these bumpers, guys. Look at this.
It's time now for news.
Watch this. See, that's the bumper for news, right?
Oh, it's Sunday morning and actually Sunday afternoon here. It's morning on the West Coast. It's about noon, afternoon, 1 o'clock. Anyway, what's the weather like here?
And that's like, I'm not going to play all 20 minutes, of course, but I want to share with you just this was a television episode. This is the most popular episode that I had on here.
Oh, the Obama.
Yeah,
inauguration.
From Denver.
And see, Bill, all I had to do was fill it with 8 minutes of commercials. And guess what? I got 28 minutes of a show, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom. That's it.
Nice.
You can take this and show it today. You know what I mean? Segment it today. So,
welcome.
And we had a great time. We're here with everyone hoping for change and excited and looking forward to a change, if nothing else.
What do you think about this crowd? Was it like?
So I had interviews like that. I had this was the party that I was at.
DC for Obama in Prince William County, Virginia.
So when you're wrapped in Obama, they're not kidding.
I was wrapped in him for a while, not as long as some, but intensively, and we just did the.
This is what she means when she's wrapped in Obama. I have to show this. It's right here.
Oh boy.
I'm going.
Thanks.
I'm so excited he got elected. Anybody can take my photo.
Not my mouth.
I see it now.
So
I worked with DC for Obama.
Yeah. So anyway, it was stuff like that. So my point is, You could take that now and make a whole movie. I've got more stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, you could make a documentary out of that, certainly. Yeah.
Also, the biggest, there's one huge movie that
Oh, and by the way, I did that all with the forerunner to the iPhone. I did it with a flip video camera, guys.
Right.
Flip video camera.
I remember the flip.
there's two coming to Tubi are going to be two major films. There's The Thicket, which is a movie that has Peter Dinklage, Juliette Lewis, and that's going to be on Tubi. And the other one is going to be a sequel to the Rob Schneider movie, The Animal. And
oh boy,
Schneider's going to be back for that one.
Oh, okay.
I saw that movie recently. It was okay. It was definitely it was a movie. I don't.
There you go. There you go. Good description.
I find it interesting that after he got all the animal parts, he now is very interested in a goat. He was very interested in that goat in the movie, which was interesting.
Yes.
Norm Macdonald was in it for a scene too, which I thought was kind of interesting. That it'll be it's going to be Tubi. That's going to probably be their biggest movie.
The only problem with Colors TV when we did it, I think I lost Bill though. But
no, you didn't. No, that was. I just had to get something.
Oh, the only problem with Colors TV that we did it is that they wanted me to find all the advertisers. I didn't have experience at that, but I wanted to farm it off to somebody else. But still, it really worked well. We just needed the right marketing. So they had the music like that. They had these things. And see what happened here.
It's time now for politics.
And they came up with that music. I forgot how excited this was. I just like, ah.
Well, it's 6:15 on the inauguration. Try early. Well, I'm going to play. It's a mixture of
It's that was fun. That was on the way. That was on the way to the inauguration. That was the morning.
Oh, cool. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, what a fun time.
There.
That's down on the mall.
The Capitol. And this is still filling up. My gosh.
Hey, Bill, were you down here?
No, I was at Grant Park. So as I probably mentioned before, my former roommate William David Burns had worked extensively with, at that time, State Senator Barack Hussein Obama, and had been his primary staffer for both appropriations and education. So when they came back, his then wife, oh God, what was her name again? Robin. No, wait. It was his second wife. He wasn't with Robin anymore. I can't remember his second wife's name. But Will and his second wife, Athena's mommy, were sort of like honored guests there because like Dan Shulman, Cynthia Muhammad, like all the old crew from back in his days as a state senator were sort of, got to be up front. I didn't get to be in quite that honored a place, but yeah, we waited till they came home. And I used to live very close to the Obamas. So my daughter's school at the time was St. Thomas the Apostle. And it was actually a big pain in the butt because at first, as time passed, it wasn't as bad. But at first, the Secret Service was super, super tight about all traffic going down 51st Street and Hyde Park Boulevard are the same thing. So at one point, 51st Street, once it crosses past Drexel, becomes Hyde Park Boulevard. So it's the same street, just two different names. And I lived on the other side of Drexel. I was living on a street called Forestville, 4943 to be exact, South Forestville. So to take my daughter to her school, which is on Kimbark, I sort of had to pass the Obama's residence, and it was, like I said, a U-tassel. And then as time went on, the Secret Service got less and less, sort of antsy, and it got easier to travel in the area. But yes, we waited for them to come home.
Oh yeah, so this was
Far
cold
back,
down here.
and it's cold. And
Oh, it was so
more people
cold. I
just
thought I was.
coming in. Look at this.
I thought my face was gonna fall off. Oh my god! What?
You're better off being indoors because I'm telling you, it is cold. It is not playing today. It's actually colder today than it was yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. This is you guys' way to stay warm? Yeah. Got my heels
They were
handles.
sitting on a sewer grate.
Oh, out that way?
No, I'm trying to go out my feet.
Oh, I see. It's a good idea. So you're not going to go into the mall, right?
I've been in the mall. I've been in the mall since 4:30, 4:35.
Oh, so you're freezing cold.
She's a volunteer, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. That's something else. I was gonna stand in there. I said forget it. It's just too cold.
Yeah.
You're not kidding. It sure is. That's why I'm trying to go out now.
Yeah.
It's too cold.
It is. It's too cold. Yes. Yeah. Hey, you guys be safe.
All right, you too.
All right. Take care. See ya. All right. I guess you could say I'm seeking refuge.
Yeah. You see, they had the credits and everything. I did that actually. So yeah, it was a full show. I mean, that's how they did. It was it was something else. I really like to this day.
Okay, I found this on the web for and see that the credits and everything I did that actually in the music. So yeah.
I thank Art Thomas for that. But that was it. That's how we did it. They went and figured out how to use my YouTube videos, and so I put them in a file, what's the term? The common term for the file that you can super condense.
What do you mean, zip? Just zipping it?
Thank you. A zip. Yeah. And I already put them together. Now I had to put them together. They told me exactly how much I'd leave out for commercials, right? And they put it, I had it, the whole kit and caboodle. They wanted me to put in a disc and email it or mail it rather to Florida. I think you'd probably do it more efficiently today rather than
you
that.
You could definitely do it more efficiently today. Yes,
definitely.
But
yeah, file transfer is very different now.
But it was for matters of, I think, resolution. Okay, because I had to. We were talking about a 12 megabyte disk. Okay.
Right.
And there he goes. Ooh.
Right, but there's file transfer programs that would allow you to,
Yeah, now you can actually easily do that. Right.
Do it like that. Do it like that.
Right. But then he would get it in Saturday morning, and by 3:00 or by 6:00 on the East, instant television show, Colors TV, channel 9414 on color on the Dish Network. So all you had to do was type that. That was our channel, folks. That was our. But see, we only had the one episode. What I didn't like was that we had a lot of trash. It was quite literally blaxploitation in front, blaxploitation in back, and we were right in the middle. And it was kind of like
that doesn't sound the best.
No, I mean I'm being kind when I'm talking about the other stuff. The other stuff was really, I mean,
you could say, "Don't worry, it's a free country."
So it sounds like Tubi.
It sounds like what?
Sounds very much like what happens on Tubi. There, like you'll find some things that are actually, you'll find some things that are. Oh no, some of the things I've seen on Tubi, I can't imagine could possibly work. I remember one thing I couldn't make it through it, but I watched part of it. These guys were having a card game, and it was one of those clearly shot on the cell phone movies, and they weren't even using fake money. They were literally using pieces of paper cut out. I'm not even joking. I'm not even kidding. It was pieces of paper. Somebody just cut out pieces of paper. Oh my god!
Well,
some of the things I've seen.
The message that we think this game is boring. Which this game is a snoozy game.
Oh well, what do you expect? It's the Bears and the Panthers. Are you surprised?
Yeah, I am. I'm disappointed.
Me too.
I want an aerial circus.
Well,
I hope
no, you're not getting an aerial circus in this game, but you are going to see a battle for the first overall pick.
I mean, actually, it would still be the Bears either way.
But why?
Not necessarily. If the Bears lose this game, they'll drop out of.
Why don't I want to see a battle for the first, overall pick among two sucky coaches? Got to be fired by next year.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing, Vinny. The Bears own the Panthers pick. So if the Panthers beat the Bears, it's no longer the best pick because now the Bears have a worse record than the Panthers. So now they're getting the second, not the first overall pick.
I would say it would be best if the Bears win this because that would give.
Oh, it is best if they win it. That's what I'm saying. It is. That's what I'm saying. The Bears need to win this game because that helps them secure the first overall pick.
Well, there you go. There you have it. There's the reason. Hey, Vinny, have you ever worked a political campaign?
No, never have.
What?
Nope, never have.
Well, this is another.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Hey, Vinny and Bill, this is another fun time from the Obama campaign. This is DNC, Florida DNC in Denver. You'll see. This is hilarious. Watch this. Oh, and by the way, Lennar was our sponsor. They paid us a lot of money, like $4,000.
Not bad.
So it can be done, you know. It can be done. At any rate.
They're all dancing.
Yes. Yes, they are.
That's down on the floor right there, okay?
Sounds fun.
See this dude? Watch this. This dude coming up, he looks just like Wolf Blitzer. He looks dead on him. Where is he at?
That guy right there, gray hair.
He's coming up.
You need a tech? Okay. Represent.
There he is, right there. See him?
He does look kind of similar.
That was some of the most fun times of my life, man.
I can imagine.
God,
It does sound pretty. It does look pretty fun.
Oh, I took myself, Ashley, John, and myself, Ashley, and John, and one other person. I paid for all the rooms. I had myself and Ashley, John, and this other person. They were political bloggers, and we found each other because they were all on a Democratic forum, and I was looking for bloggers. They wanted to blog, and I said, "Hey!" So we started blogging, and I got us all press credentials.
Nice.
And we were all at the DNC. Yeah.
Sharp.
That was 2008. Yeah. So, no, that was. What is it? I love it when a plan comes together.
I can see that.
Yes, there you go.
But that's the thing, though. That's what you can do with media today. You don't need a lot of money.
You go look at Tubi. I mean, Tubi doesn't need much. Tubi is basically after Fox sold 20th Century and National Geographic FX, they were left with Tubi. So they decided to put their stuff on Tubi, and we get a bunch of stuff that was made on someone's flip phone. But don't worry, you're going to get Rob Schneider reprising his role from The Animal. Because listen, you're probably curious yourself, Vin, how were they even able to get the rights for that movie? You're probably wondering that. Well,
but I think you're onto something, Vinny. Just find some actor that was known in the past, or any celebrity.
Yeah.
It's and who a celebrity is today.
Rob Schneider is a big deal. I mean, granted, in my household, like all the Happy Madison crew, Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, David Spade, those guys are like legends over here.
Or even like old broadcasters who want looking, for a new place. So all we have to do is hook them up to the network. All they need is a smartphone.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Right?
I know that for Schneider, now
he's like getting the sponsors, of course.
There's actually a reason as to why. You see, you got to go back to like the early 2000s as to why this happened. Revolution Studios was made by Joe Roth after he left Disney,
right?
And he made a deal with Sony, and the movies they made, Black Hawk Down, The Animal, they made a Click. Let's see, Water Horse, I think, Daddy Daycare. Are we there yet? Well, they also did Rocky Balboa, I believe.
Oh,
for most of their movies, exception of like that, their Revolution made a deal when they did it with Sony that they would own the rights for all the movies they would produce with Columbia. So that's why they made a sequel to like The Bench Warmers, and then they made a sequel to Daddy Daycare called Granddaddy Daycare with Danny Trejo.
Oh boy! Oh,
and they did a sequel to that on like one of those direct-to-DVD things with Universal, and now they're going to do The Animal 2 with Tubi. They have the rights for the film, so now they can do sequel rights, and that means, man, that's like my most anticipated film from Tubi ever, and I'm saying that knowing that I don't know any of their movies from Tubi outside of that.
Yeah, well, I've now started seeing the sort of Tubi original sort of masthead on things, and it fills you with a certain sense of trepidation. But some of them don't look bad at all. There was a horror film. I think it's called something like "I'm Still Here" or something. That's a Tubi original. So they're trying to raise the level of their game. You can still see some Tubiness about some of it, but you can see that they're trying, at least with some of it, to not look. They don't want everything to look like it was made on someone's phone.
No. Hey, also we've got NFL draft red carpet videos like this one. Name that player.
Changed in how they treat you.
It's still the same. I'm still the same guy to them. I'm not going to change just because I'm in New York and I'm having a good time.
This is the NFL draft in New York right here. See, started right here.
2000 and...
This was, as you can see, there's a madhouse now. It's mostly medium. And there's Mr. Looking Colts Blue.
Yeah,
hey, you look
Andrew,
good,
yeah,
right?
there's
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah. And go Cardinal, man. Definitely. Yeah.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Bill, you were at this one, weren't you?
That's 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was somewhere there. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was
This is
somewhere
outside.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. Radio C. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff. That's
Okay. Excellent. So it's not synonymous with the team you might be going to, like the Baltimore Ravens or anything. Okay. All right. Have a good night.
That was a good question. That's a very good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Here comes RG3.
You're going to end up getting the same answer. Either they're going to say, I don't care, or I don't know, or wherever I go, I'll be happy.
Dude, you're like, even. How's the fame affecting you? It's like not affecting you at all.
You can't let it affect you. You can never forget where you came from. That way you know where you're going.
Absolutely.
There he goes. Legend, man. RG3. So,
and of course, both of his parents were 20+ year service. I think his mother did 25+ years.
I have an interview with his dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, his late
I've
father.
got enough here for. Not we, I should say we, because the company owns it now, but we got a ton of stuff, folks. I mean, you ever sit down and just have a chance to look at it, just randomly sift through, there's a wealth of stuff. You've got Phil Morris, Greg Morris's son.
Oh, that's right.
Loretta Gray. I've got the late Ed Asner. Interview with him twice. Oh my God! Jeez Louise. Of course, Roger Goodell a ton of times.
A bunch of times. What about John David Washington? Did you get him any place?
No, because his ascent came after the Night of 100 Stars disbanded, and my last year going was 2016.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I do have Jason Ritter, who is John Ritter's son.
Right.
I think 3 times. I've got Mimi Rogers, who at one point I think was married to Tom Cruise.
She was Tom Cruise's first wife. Yeah.
I've got Martin Landau twice. Rest in peace.
Right. Late great.
We've got David Leisure from the Joe commercial. Got to know him really well. He would always come with the late Fred Willard.
Oh yes.
R.I.P.
Yep. I always have breakfast at the Polo Lounge that morning, so I have videos of me talking to the waiter because they got to know me they knew me by first name because we were going there that much, you know. I've got Joe Lewis, who's the producer of the Oscars and also the NFL Draft Red Carpet.
Right.
I've got who is the lady? Oh, Alyssa Milano.
Oh,
Alyssa Milano. Oh,
yeah. Yep. Got her. I've got. Remember the trainer that the short lady trainer? That got really popular for a time. Around 2010.
Are you talking about from Biggest Loser?
Yeah.
Oh, name start with a J.
Yeah,
what was her name again?
I could go and get her right now, but it's like tip of my tongue.
But yeah, I know you're talking about.
I've got her twice. Jillian Michaels.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Jillian. Yeah, I had a crush on her. Whew. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, when it worked out for you, there's any.
You don't know that. Anyway,
I kind of do.
She's
I
lesbian.
kind of do.
I know you don't.
Isn't she lesbian?
Huh?
Yes. She's married to a woman. Yes.
Yeah, but that never stopped me. Sorry, guys.
Well, it might have stopped her though. Is what.
No, but it didn't stop me.
Well, I mean, it might have stopped her.
Guys,
consent is still a thing.
Guys and folks watching in the audience out there, love is love is love. Let's put it that way. So don't ever think that you don't have a shot, because then you don't. But if you think you have a shot, when others say you don't, you got a shot. So take your shot and just let the chips fall where they may.
Also,
live your dream.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that the women that I dated who other people said were lesbian were wound up being my girlfriends for a time. So, like I said, Bill, no.
Good point. Okay, there. I stand corrected.
Hey, Bill is silent.
Well, I'm just saying she married a woman. I mean, so.
Well, you know.
I'm not saying you don't have a shot. I'm saying you don't now. That's what I'm saying.
Too.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I don't want to get too deep in the woods of personal stuff. But
so other questions I have.
Had some fun.
So what else do we do? What else should we do here? We're at the 2-hour mark.
Vinny tried to be straight-laced about the whole thing.
We got a chance to see.
Hey, Vinny, this is still slightly mature.
We got a chance to see Deuce Staley, a Deuce Staley sighting. That was good. I hope he gets a chance to be an offensive coordinator soon.
Yeah,
or at least a run game coordinator.
That'd be cool. That would be massively cool.
I mean, he's been a really highly respected coach for a long time in the league.
Oh, here we go. 39. Oh, off target. You ever see that girl named Annie Yeager on the Instagram, Vinny?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, everyone's seen her.
Oh, really? Well,
of course. She's been doing this for years.
So you think you know Wix? Do you really?
Really?
First up, we've got Shake video masks. You can use different shake.
Met her in Philadelphia.
So there she is.
Oh.
So long ago. So long ago.
There's Annie.
Star and Casey Wasserman took care of her, right?
Yes.
Casey, great job. Yeah. How are you liking this?
I love it. This is my second NFL draft. The first.
My friend is her agent, Casey Wasserman.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm kind of curious too.
I met her in 2017 before she got all this other stuff. So yeah.
What do you think what we will do for the draft?
We'll figure that out along the way.
Just curious.
And I am just loving life. This scenery is beautiful. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better spot for red carpet. So
Something else, isn't it?
the heat is a little bit to be desired.
The heat is, yeah. It's not.
And we both wore black, so it's not our best.
Yeah, when I met her, she was working for News 8 in Michigan, and I met her when I was interviewing. We were both interviewing Steve Smith. And so we tag team. That's how I got to know her. I don't tag team like that. Come on, Dirty Mind.
No, I knew what you meant. There's no way you both. There's even the two of you couldn't have handled Steve Smith anyway.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So
the undefeated training camp fight champion in NFL history,
and a friend. I like Steve. Steve is a nice dude, man.
Well, yeah, now, but you didn't want to see him coming, in the dog days of training camp. Ask Cam Newton, ask Ken Hamlin, there's a long list of dudes you could ask about why you should never run across Steve Smith Sr. if his blood is up.
Now I remember in Philadelphia in 2017 when I met him. I was trying to get an interview with him, both him and Maurice Jones-Drew, but they're kicking everybody out. And Steve was in a snit of a mood from something having nothing to do with me, and he snapped at me. Mm-hmm. And Maurice said, "Why are you yelling at him, dude? He didn't do anything." I mean, it was literally a like bang bang situation. I walked up and I was like, "Whoa," But no, Steve apologized. So
right. And the good news is you got off a lot easier than Ken Hamlin did, who I think got knocked out cold.
Oh my God. What did Ken Hamlin do though?
He ran across Steve Smith on the wrong day at the wrong time during training camp when he was hot and irritated.
You mean he walked up and said, "Mr. Smith, can I interview you?"
No, he probably didn't say that. It was probably, one-on-ones in practice and, things get a little competitive and Steve Smith said something, he said something, or vice versa, and then bang, he's unconscious.
Wow. No, didn't happen to me.
Well, good for you. You're a winner in this deal then.
Okay, question. As while we're talking about Tubi films, again,
that's hilarious.
Go back to it.
Because the most fun segment you'll ever see. Enjoy it while it lasts. Actually, because it is going to last. I'm sorry, Vinny, what were you saying?
I was going to say, because they have this deal with Revolution, these are the movies you could see potentially get a sequel. Which ones would you like to see get a sequel? There's you can get a sequel to The Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey. You can see you could see America's Sweethearts, where you have both Julia Roberts and John Cusack and Stanley Tucci and Seth Green. It's a big cast, man.
That's potentially interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you could see a sequel to Anger Management, but you probably wouldn't have Sandler or Nicholson. But I don't know if you'd.
In that case, it's not a sequel. In that case, it's a film that just has the same name on it.
They could do a sequel to White Chicks. White Chicks is a cult classic. I mean, you can get both the Wayans brothers for that.
So it's whiter chicks.
I guess so. Christmas with the Cranks. That was the Tim Allen. I think it was who was in that.
No, thank you. No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Let's see what else is there. Little Man, another Wayans brothers movies. You want to see?
Let's check out the Solocam S340.
Sorry, Jenny. Go ahead.
A lot of these movies are just kind of mid, honestly. A lot of these movies that they
if
made.
even that, but yes, right.
I mean, there's some good ones, but most are very mid. I don't know how many people are gonna really line up to see a sequel to like Little Man.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Oh,
the
here,
fact they're
folks,
doing
we're
this.
talking about celebrities. Here's another one for you. You might recognize this guy, folks, or this. Yeah, it's not legend. Coming up. This is Las Vegas last year.
Mr. Osmond, legend. I'm going for quarterback. Hey, wait. You are the quarterback, man. How you doing? Somebody said this looked like it was a great line. Really? As the singer. How is this for you? How you doing? This is what Vegas is. NFL draft was meant to be here. Yes. Because when you get right down to it, football is show business. Yep. It's become show business over the years.
It definitely
I'm
is.
a football lover, so it's. Who's your team? The Raiders? Well, the Raiders. Okay. I'm here in Vegas.
While I'm here in Vegas. There you go. That's a good answer. While I'm here in Vegas.
I mean, I don't see the Patriots. I know. Tuck rule. I know. But I love Tom Brady, okay? And since he moved down the floor, I still love Tom Brady, but I'm still with the Patriots. I like the Colts. Yeah. Jim Irsay's a great guy. Yeah. Yeah. Chiefs. Yeah. Andy Reid, I know Andy. Yeah. Rams. I've always been a Rams, but the Niners. Niners. I go back to the Montana, Rice, young days, okay? Do you remember where you were when the catch happened?
You go back farther than that, sir, but okay. You probably go back to the John Brody, Gene Washington days, if you want to be honest.
Yeah, well, nice.
Back of the end zone on.
I'll say it was a windy day too, folks. Woo.
Yeah, you can tell it was a windy day.
Yeah.
He's had a little work done, but he looks good.
No, I had a blast. But Vinny, that's a rule. That's a lesson for you, Vinny, and vlogger, and you too, Bill. When you want to interview somebody, ask the person, and then be ready to say something right out the bat and capture them.
Definitely.
And say it quick. Say it quick and say it with energy, because then you get them engaged and you get them talking, because you only have 2 or 3 minutes anyway, right?
If that, in some cases, yeah.
Well, with the red carpet there, that's how, especially the way that crew was operating. So you had to get in and get out, and that's what I did. So that was one of my best efforts of all the red carpets I've done anywhere. That was one of my best efforts. So yeah. So Benny, look for red carpets and sign up. Look for them in New York. Yeah, you know why? Because the essence of doing this is using the camera to talk to people. It's not just being a talking head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Bill.
I gotta have press credentials too for that.
It's not just being a talking head. It's understanding how to engage with people efficiently on camera within a time frame.
Tribeca.
Oh, there you go, Tribeca.
Yeah. Coming up. Yeah. So practice that, and also look them in the eye.
Well, I mean that's just a general thing humans should do. Period.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised though. You'd be surprised because what's going on now, and the reason why I prolong this is that what you're seeing on television and what is going on here has merged like that. The NFL loves this stuff.
Sure.
They watch our videos. They watch our videos.
Right. Yeah. That's why they created something. I mean, the draft was around for a long time. They didn't have a red carpet until fairly recently. So clearly they're adapting.
But I mean, among credentialed NFL, they watch our videos.
Right. And they're adapting to try to get, there'll be a pre, and now you have sort of pre red carpet things where you see them, the players talking with fashion designers and stylists. And so you see them working on figuring out what they're going to wear and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's almost like the Met Gala to some extent, where, at this point it's an event to get ready for the event. And now that's going to be, a TV show inside the suit selection that somebody's going to wear and all the other stuff. So yeah, the idea is to keep packaging new ways to sell people, or
packaging.
Yeah. That's what you're doing. You're packaging. You're creating something that you can package and then give to people that they will, say, "Oh, this is something I want to consume." Because
all right, trivia question: who created the concept of packaging?
Do you mean packaging as in like
we're just talking about it? No,
right.
no.
But I mean, do you mean packaging as in like, wrapping something in twine? I mean, I'm trying to figure out what you mean by that.
We were just talking about it, Bill. We were just talking about it.
Okay, so you're talking about like specific to like entertainment programming or something.
Of course, you were just talking about it.
Well, I'm just making sure. I mean, the way it was worded, I wasn't sure what you were asking.
No, I just said that we were just talking about it. It just literally just came off of it. Packaging. Who created the concept of packaging? Okay, 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. Michael Ovitz.
Oh,
Michael Lovitz. Is he any relation to John?
Michael Ovitz.
Ovitz, not Lovitz.
Ovitz.
Oh, Ovitz.
Michael Ovitz.
Michael Ovitz.
At one point was Hollywood's most powerful agent.
Yeah, it's a name I haven't heard in a while, but yes, at one point.
Michael Ovitz.
Ovitz. Michael Ovitz also at one point ran Disney.
Yep.
I think Michael Eisner more personally.
No, Michael Ovitz.
That's a little closer to your time period. Michael Ovitz was a little before your time.
No, actually, they overlap, but they're different areas. And so, anyway, Michael Ovitz, though.
Right, but Ovitz left Disney in '97. What year were you born, Vinny?
99.
Yeah,
Michael
when
Ovitz,
he was minus 2 years old.
Yes.
Michael Ovitz with Ron Meyer created, and the other person is flying out of my head. They created Creative Artists Agency, CAA.
Yep, the monster CAA.
And Michael Ovitz basically discovered he made David Letterman what he is,
and a bunch of other people. But yeah, it's a long list of people that they helped to develop their careers.
Pretty legendary name.
Michael Ovitz also came this close to instructing a young economic advisor to the mayor of Oakland how to get Magic Johnson and Frank Robinson involved so that they would buy the Oakland Athletics. And that was me. And then I met Michael Ovitz in my second Super Bowl in 2003 in San Diego.
Yeah. But yeah, they had Stallone early in his career, Cruz at the beginning of his career, Dustin Hoffman, not at the beginning of his career, but later in his career.
He's 76 years old.
Yep.
He founded the Creative Arts Agency in 1975 and served as the chairman until 1985, and served as president of the Walt Disney Company for 6 months from 1995 to 1997.
Right.
Magic Johnson went to him and with Magic Johnson advising him, Magic Johnson built his company and became a billionaire.
Yeah,
Michael Ovitz is a truly good man. So
and he's done a lot of philanthropy as well as all the other things he's done in the industry, and all the people that came up under him. I mean, there's so many people, young producers.
But you never asked
and
the
young.
magic question when I said I met him. And if I say I meet somebody, and this is true for anybody, guys, ask them how it happened. I don't care how it makes you feel. Ask them how they did it. Okay, because it's a window into what's possible for you. I cold called him.
Wow.
I get a lot of rejections even today, but I cold called him working for the mayor of Oakland because I was in charge of buyer teams for the mayor with respect to the A's, which were up for sale. So I swung for the moon. And my philosophy then and now is you shoot for Alpha Centauri and you hit the moon. Okay.
Yes.
So my point,
keep talking.
Just because things don't happen for a person doesn't mean you don't try. That's what I was trying to talk about with women and anything, right? You got to try.
Definitely.
And is it hard for us as Black folks? Of course it is. But does that mean you don't try? No. You got to try.
The worst they could say to you is no.
Right. Yeah, I got a lot of no's.
Right. But every no brings you closer to the next yes.
Right. A stack of them. I'm still looking at it. They're kind of like,
his football connection obviously is he was part of that group that was trying to bring an NFL team back to the LA Coliseum.
Yeah, he got outbid by guess who? Guess who?
That was Bob McNair,
You almost
right?
said it. Go ahead. You got the Bob part right.
Bob
McNair, the
McNair,
late
right?
Bob McNair.
Late great
Said
Bob
Bob
McNair.
McNair.
Yeah.
Bob McNair outbid him. Ovitz bid $550 million. McNair bid $750 million. He had sold off his cogeneration plants. And when we were pitching for the Super Bowl for Oakland, that's how I met Bob McNair. I introduced Mr. McNair to Jerry Brown.
Nice.
He was my boss at the time.
I also want to ask about, Toronto. I know was one of the three as well, along with Houston and LA. Like, who was there for Toronto?
Toronto.
Yep, was Toronto one of them? I know that LA and Houston was one.
No. That was never real.
Yeah, the closest thing to Toronto was at one point the Peruglas or whatever were supposedly playing footsie with Toronto, but I don't know how much stock.
Yeah.
No, it came down to it was the league wanted the NFL market to include LA. And because since Georgia Frontiere took
the Rams to St. Louis, and when the Raiders went back to Oakland, yeah.
Well, it had been empty.
Right.
And so
20 years.
And so Ovitz had one group to build the hacienda in the suburbs. Lee Steinberg was involved in downtown LA. We talked
Name
about
sounds
that.
nice.
Actually talks about that with us today, to this day. But what really got things going in terms of LA was when Michael
Ovitz?
No. The chairman of Microsoft after Bill Gates.
Steve Ballmer?
Steve Ballmer. Yeah, Steve
Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer. I don't know
Who
why
owns the Clippers?
his name flew out of my head, but Steve Ballmer. When Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers for $2 billion.
Right.
Touchdown Bears, by the way.
Yep. Yeah, we saw that. Deontay Foreman scored.
Yeah. That changed the outlook. I remember where I was when it happened. I was at the Heroes event before the Super Bowl. It was in 2012 in New York. And the deal that went down that day, and there was a buzz because the owners were like, how come we don't have a team in LA if it's worth that much? And I said to Joe Brown, I said, hey, if you're going to put together an effort to relocate teams, I want to run the effort. And he said, that's a good idea.
Joe Brown, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Yep. Joe Brown got me the NFL draft coverage I have to this day. That was all Joe Brown.
Wow.
From start out, because they saw how badly the city had treated me. And as Jacksonville was being awarded the Super Bowl that we bid for, the 2005 Super Bowl in the press conference, and Jerry Brown was saying, you can't do this, you can't do this. Joe tapped me on the shoulder and said, Zennie, if there's anything we can do, you let us know. And so I called him 2 years later, and I said, hey, remember that promise you made? Actually, 3 years, because I was covering the draft at Raider headquarters. I thought, I can do better than this. And I called Joe out of the blue. I said, Joe, remember that promise? And before I could finish my sentence, he said, I remember. What can I do for you? I said, I'd like to cover the NFL draft in New York. He said, you're in. That's how it happened.
How's he doing, by the way, Joe Brown?
I haven't talked to Joe in a long time. I have to find out. I'll find out. I'll find out through Brian McCarthy.
I was going to ask, like, if LA got a team instead of Houston, hypothetically, how would that look for the alignment? Would they be in the NFC West and the Seahawks never would have switched conferences?
Don't know, because they didn't have an answer at the time.
I know that when Houston did come, like they did request they wanted to be in the AFC.
Houston came as a surprise because everyone expected Michael Ovitz to have more money than Bob McNair.
Surprise.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it is a really good what if scenario. Like, what if LA did in fact get that team? Because that probably means there could be a chance the Rams would still be in St. Louis to this day, potentially, nothing guaranteed. Also, could the Chargers still be in San Diego?
Yeah.
Would the Raiders still go to Las Vegas? Potentially? I mean,
Well, you have to remember though, let's put these things in their proper time frame. Okay. What we're talking about with them happened way before the other stuff.
Yeah.
So, sure. I mean, if LA had an expansion team, there would be no need to relocate.
Yeah. Would a team want to go to Houston?
There would be the Hacienda, and the Hacienda would have one tenant rather than two. But that didn't happen. So quite literally, but see what happened was that were it not for Steve Ballmer making that purchase, none of the other stuff would have happened.
Right.
Because that sent the NFL the signal that, you know what, first of all, this market is worth far more than you realize.
Definitely.
Second of all, you haven't been in a long time. And third of all, you better get off your blankety blank and do something.
Absolutely.
Right. And they invented this whole thing about home team, home use, relocation bylaws. All right. Because they kept violating their own rules. I mean, for example, I have in a video where Eric Grubman was talking about how, first of all, we don't want a developer involved in your stadium because it means that if you have these mixed-use developments, that's another mouth to feed. In other words, you have all these revenues that you're collecting to pay for. We don't want that. They just want straight public money. But when Stan Kroenke floated his idea, which included mixed use, guess what happened? The argument flipped.
Definitely.
And I caught that. I was like, wait a minute. Hey, okay. Because you could tell, first of all, Eric was just getting up to speed with how this stuff worked. But Eric was a very convincing, cool character.
Yes.
And they picked the right guy for it. But the bottom line is the NFL was trying to invent a reason to get LA into that market. What happened was that they did breach their contract. They created a contract with the fans and they breached it.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis came out with $760 million and Oakland came out with nothing. Why? Because we didn't go with the same argument.
Yeah, and guess what? St. Louis beat the NFL at their own game. San Diego didn't do that, and Oakland didn't do that. But I always do wonder, what if was there even a chance that the Rams were going to stay in St. Louis, even a remote chance, or were they going to go to Los Angeles regardless?
No, there was a good chance. And there was a chance because St. Louis had an excellent bid. They had a great naming rights deal with National Car Register that was $140 million.
The stadium looked pretty good too. It was right by.
They had an excellent task force led by the Penskes.
Mm-hmm.
They operated process as a business, and they were on point, aggressive, and efficient.
Yes.
And so, if there was a perfect organization to counter what the NFL wanted to do, it was the Penske organization. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's about bidding. And so you had Stan Kroenke had a great deal of money. He had the right juice. And then Jerry Jones stepped in because Jerry Jones had created legends and saw a way to make himself money by saying, hey, look, I'll cobble together these sponsorships, but instead of them being from one stadium, I'll make the same sponsorship group for different ones. We'll have one for Levi's Stadium, the same one for them. Then we'll transport it to what became SoFi Stadium for the Rams.
Right.
They did the same thing at Cowboy Stadium. So all that is legends. Okay, so and who is partnered with Jerry Jones and Legends? 4 other NFL owners. So the lattice work in terms of NFL politics of what is causing relocation is more complicated, and I think y'all right about this too. Is more complicated than people realize.
I could only imagine because there's much more moving parts and
But
many more.
but in every complicated system, there's a driver, and the driver is you have these owners that have figured out how to make money from these franchises, and so they've partnered together. And so, what's driving the Athletics going to Las Vegas? Well, guess who's involved in the market study, Convention Sports and Leisure? Who owns that? Jerry Jones and Company. All right. Who's going to help them with sponsorships? It's Legends. Sound familiar? You getting the picture?
Yep.
So
Definitely.
that's what people don't realize now. This is, when these fans go up and they make fun of me, and I keep saying, "Hey, I've been where you are, and I learned," and they don't want to listen. They do the groundhog thing.
That's their loss. The reason why I got in touch with you and the reason why I'm still with you to this day is because while other people laughed at you, I listened because I knew you were a legitimate source.
Thank you.
And lo and behold, 4 years later, I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, it's, the bottom line is that if you stop, you have to remember the mainstream media that you're reading probably gets its money from the same people.
Probably. It wouldn't shock me.
Okay. If it doesn't get it from the same people, it's definitely from a hedge fund.
Absolutely.
Which also may have some of the same owners, which also may wind up owning a football team. So this stuff is not objective journalism.
No, it generally isn't. Like the idea of objective journalism, I never was someone who believed it's objective journalism. No, it's no such thing as fact. It's only it's only interpretations. Or the interpretation could be swayed by one person or another. But going back with the idea of St. Louis, do you think, not saying now or the next 10 years, but could you see a scenario in which St. Louis as a city gets back an NFL team, whether that's expansion?
Wake up, Bill. Bill looks like me a few minutes ago. Bill's tired.
Could you see?
What?
I'm not even so much tired. I'm just waiting for us.
That's why I got the coffee.
I'm not so much tired. I'm just waiting for us to, get to something.
Well,
Get to
again,
what?
it's Bears Panthers on Thursday night.
Get to what, Bill?
Just something. I don't know. Something. We had some juicier stuff, but I guess we'll get through. We'll just see where this takes us.
But I also,
I'm lost. You mean the game or the conversation or both?
Or something? Yeah, I mean, it could be the game. Could be.
I'm not stopping you from talking.
He means the game, I think.
Or
the game is boring.
Or if not the game, then other things that might.
Hey, it's interesting for me.
I mean, like what's going on in Michigan is going to be fascinating to see how that unfolds.
Oh God! Okay, so hey folks, I want you all to school me on this because I haven't been able to follow it. Could you all do that? No one's.
Well, yeah. There's a few.
I don't really follow college football as much, so I'm not.
Yeah, there's a few different moving parts to it, but the investigation has involved three different staffers. The one who has already been removed from the program. Well, let me put it this way: 2 have been removed from the program. One for things directly related to the current, sign stealing operation, and one for an unrelated solicitation of a minor.
Sign stealing.
But,
there's pedophilia involved in this too.
Well, not directly related, but a young man named Alex Yude was a low-level staffer, just a graduate assistant, who got caught while on a recruiting visit, was hopped onto an app and started communicating with who we thought was a 13-year-old girl. It was actually like a sort of a sting operation kind of thing. But that was the only way that ties in is that when his laptop got seized, they found some things that helped them to realize that there was something larger going on that was unrelated to the soliciting of a minor that was going on in Michigan, because he was part of that. I can't remember what they call themselves, but like basically like Harbaugh's version of Belichick's slappies, right? A bunch of guys in sort of low level, from graduate assistant to like quality control on down kind of stuff. Some volunteers, but these guys we're talking about are paid, though lowly paid, but paid staffers. Then on top of that, you also have the sort of cybercrime or alleged cybercrime part of the this whole unfolding scandal at Michigan. So there's a few different things that are somewhat tangentially related, and some of them are more directly related. So Matt Weiss had inappropriately accessed some computer accounts, and it was Matt Weiss's communications with Alex Ude that were discovered sort of by accident through when they seized young Mr. Ude's laptop, once again as part of the investigation he was involved in for a unrelated solicitation of a minor.
Oops.
But at this point, they now had a sort of weigh in, and he was the highest ranked of all of these people because he's a co-offensive coordinator, and he was getting into other accounts, like I said, that drew attention, and he was terminated, obviously, as was Mr. Ude. And then Mr. Connor Stallions actually, he wasn't terminated, he resigned. But he inappropriately accessed computer accounts of several other individuals, and the exact details have not yet been divulged. But this is part of what sort of grew out of this. And then the other thing that most people have heard about, like I said, is the Mr. Connor Stallions, who was doing things such as doing in-person scouting, which is not something that you're allowed to do. It's a violation of the rules of the conference. You're allowed, like everyone else, to exchange game tape. That's how most scouting is done for future opponents in the Big Ten Conference, and really in college football in general, is the exchange of game tape. Doing in-person scouting is not something that's allowed. And also, he had engaged in data collection of the signs and signals of other football teams with the intent of cracking, understanding what was being communicated, who was live and who was a dummy, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So there's, like I said, there's a couple of things that are sort of directly related, but most of it's sort of tangentially or indirectly related to each other. But we do know that, two of these things sort of came out in sort of natural-ish, organic-ish flow while they sat on the Alex Ude story, and it only broke a few days ago. Well, even though it happened quite some time ago, it broke about maybe a week and a half ago or so, largely due to a podcaster who himself is a former disgraced assistant coach at Ohio State named Zane Smith, who you might remember from his days working for Urban Meyer, and he got caught up in a domestic abuse scandal. But Zane Smith has some very extensive reporting on all of those three investigations that I talked about. And he and a young man named Sean James Yoder, or is it James Sean Yoder? I think it's Sean James Yoder, who's actually a Michigan blogger, have done some of the most extensive digging into all of those situations. So if you want to get a super deep dive, both Zane Smith, his thing is called A Threat to Sports, I think is what it's called. I think it's what his podcast is called. I think it's called Threat to Sports. But and I can't remember what James Yoder's is called. I have to look it up. But both of them have done a lot of work, a lot of very deep dive work on all three of those scandals.
All right, so
But yeah, there's a finding coming in the next few days. Not punishment, just a finding.
Okay.
But something will be. There'll probably be something indicating where they stand.
How do you think this will turn out, Bill?
Well, eventually, if it's found that Harbaugh knew about any of these things, eventually he'll probably be forced to resign. But if it turns out that these were rogue operations and he knew nothing of them, he'll survive. But the program will be punished. You know, loss of on-campus recruiting, loss of scholarships, that kind of thing. But so that's the whole thing. It's like with Watergate. You know, what did the president know? When did he know it? So that's what it's going to come down to with this. If it can be proven that he knew about any of these things and sat on the information, he's probably done. If it's proven, like I said, that each of, well, obviously the pedophilia.
And that leads me to this question: is he done? Period.
I think it would be done. Period. Personally, at least
at Michigan,
NFL level.
No. He'd be snapped up like that at the NFL level. They don't care about this stuff.
That's what I'm looking for. Okay.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, people who've done far worse than this have been hired by NFL football teams. I hate this. Oh, I mean, worse than yes. I mean worse than that even. I mean, Bobby Petrino did some things that weren't smart.
Jessica Dorrell.
Yeah, he did some things that weren't
on that too.
Yeah, he did some things that weren't smart, obviously. But I mean, I'm thinking about people who have, committed. I mean, Matt Patricia. I mean, there's a long list of guys who've done stuff that are actual crimes. So yeah, this would not deter a team that wanted to hire Jim Harbaugh. This would not stop the Bears from bringing him back if they decide to move on from Eberflus. It would not stop who else would probably consider him. It wouldn't stop the Raiders if the Raiders were interested. But yeah, any team that's truly interested in Jim Harbaugh is not going to, unless it turns out, something truly awful, But if it just turns out that he knew about a cheating operation, they'll be like, it happens. People, what's one of the old sayings, especially around the Raiders building, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So this would not deter an NFL team. But like I said, at this point, it just comes down to what did he know and when did he know it? If he found out when we all found out, he's fine. Still, the program will be punished, but
Bill,
he would not be. Yeah.
How is this going to come down definitively?
I mean, nobody knows. The FBI is still on campus. The investigation is still open.
Take a guess.
Oh, well, I can take a guess, an uneducated guess. My uneducated guess is that he's found to not have any foreknowledge of any of this. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's what will come out.
I think that's what's going to happen. I really do. I don't think I can't see Jim Harbaugh being suspended. Can you, Vinny?
Nah, I personally can't.
I
gotta check. I'll be right back. I gotta make one check.
So my uneducated guess is that they find there's what's called lack of institutional control, the ever popular lack of institutional control, and that they'll come down with not both feet, come down with 1 foot, essentially on Michigan. They'll lose, I don't know, let's say a dozen scholarships, and no on-campus recruiting for, I don't know, 2 years. And some other sanction, maybe no bowl games, or something like that for a couple of years. I think that's what the outcome will probably. Once again, this is an uneducated guess. That's my guess. Now, obviously, if it's found, like I said, that Harbaugh did have foreknowledge of these things before it, broke, before it reached the wider world, yeah, then he's probably done. Because it's one thing to have your staff out there doing, all these things. It's another thing if it looks like they got their marching orders from you. If it looks like they got their marching orders from you, then yeah. I mean, the university at that point would have no alternative but to move on from him.
Mm-hmm. I also want to. I don't really know much about the Michigan stuff, but I'm personally curious in terms of like, what do you going also back with the NFL? Where do you think they will? Oh, I was trying to say about St. Louis before, right? What do you think it would take, and how long do you think it would take for St. Louis to get another NFL team?
It will take a while, unfortunately, Vinny, and whether that's fair or not is a whole other discussion. But St. Louis has had NFL teams, a few different times. Obviously, when the Chicago Cardinals left Chicago, they went there, and that was a reasonably well supported franchise.
They never won anything though.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, nothing substantial. No, they were a solid football team in the 70s, and then sort of wandered around the wilderness in the 80s before they finally, packed up and moved. But that was, I said, reasonably well supported. St. Louis is a quote unquote smaller market. There's always less of less intention on filling up the smaller markets. That's fewer eyeballs, right? I mean, you couldn't have the LA market unoccupied by an NFL team. Think of all the eyeballs. I mean, they think in terms of ratings a lot. And if you could have 7 St. Louis's before they would equal 1 Los Angeles, basically, in terms of what it means culturally and also what it means in terms of pure business sense. Los Angeles is one of the hubs of several major industries, including the television industry. So when there was no LA team, it just looked awful. It's a bad look. Outside of St. Louis, frankly, very few people care about St. Louis, at least in the football market and football.
Yeah, when it comes to but even then, I know, was the way they got rid of the Rams scummy? Yes, but the reason why I'm not super broken up about it is because I also look at it from a business perspective. It's the same reason why I don't get super uptight with when the Browns first left Cleveland. It's a similar situation because I know it's way more complex than that. And just saying, oh, Kroenke's evil, Modell's evil. It's way more complex. It's also a failure from politicians as well.
Sure.
It's easy to scapegoat and to get angry, but I'm not one of those people. Also, with St. Louis, if St. Louis was to get an expansion team, the NFL would probably be equally interested in having, a few teams in Europe. But how would they even really do that?
Well, logistics would kill you. So, and there's some really fascinating tax questions that will, make some accountants and tax lawyers a lot of money. So that'll be exciting for them. They can take a very nice trip or fund their children's education. So you would have to schedule in such a way that a block of teams basically would have to come over, play however many European teams, sort of in almost like a round robin kind of mini tournament kind of style thing, and then at the end of it, the 4 of you or however many of you fly home. So you would maybe, let's say it's the Jets and the Arizona Cardinals are going to play whoever the 2 international teams are, and then they play each other, right? So they each play. So, this week, one of them plays Stuttgart and the other one plays London or whatever, and then they switch. And then the next week after that, they play each other, and then they fly home. It would have to be something like that.
I would say for the NFL's instance, I think having actual NFL teams, actual European-based NFL teams, that's way too far in the future. I think what's more feasible is they said that in 2024 they'll still have the 5 international games. 2026 they're going to expand to have it 6 or 7. They're going to expand. I think that is way more feasible than having an actual team in London or Frankfurt or wherever, because
right.
I would much rather say but what's more likely? Do you think having a team in London's more likely, or do you think having a team in St. Louis is more likely?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I'm going to say both are fairly unlikely, but if you're playing the long game, I guess London in the long game, because it's a much bigger market. If you can penetrate the London market, which will take a while, because there's a growing interest in our version of football, but still it's a niche sport. It's on the same level as like competitive tag. Well, okay, I'm exaggerating. It's not with competitive tag, but it's like professional skateboarding, right? It's in that level. It's like that tier of sport in terms of the national marketplace. It's a 11 people out of 100 kind of thing are interested. If they can get to 33 people out of 100, now they're going to look at it, right? And of course, you want to eventually get to where it's like America, where it's 57, 58 out of 100 regularly watch. If you get to that, now you're golden. But
that's why they're going to keep having, they'll still have at least like 3 games over there, and we'll just see how they do it there. But besides, what about Canada? Like, could Toronto ever have a team, or is that just like not possible?
Well, I mean, it's not that it's not possible; it's that it would really damage the CFL. The CFL, for obvious reasons, has always challenged. They're okay with, hey, if you want to play an exhibition game against us, maybe add a preseason. Well, the NFL's trying to get out of the preseason business, so I guess that sort of hurts that chance. But if you wanted to have some sort of exhibition game, maybe as part of Hall of Fame weekend, right? So now it's a doubleheader. You have the Hall of Fame game, but maybe before that, some team is up in Canada playing in Saskatchewan or wherever it is, playing a CFL team. Now they'd have to figure out whose rules you're going to play by. I guess it'd be NFL rules would win in that case. But you would have to figure out a few things. But it's way easier, obviously, than doing anything you do overseas. So
definitely,
our version of the game is already pretty popular in Canada, but rightly the Canadian Football League owners and things like that are concerned about essentially the Walmartization, right, where all the mom and pops are gone because it's all Walmarts every few blocks. So they're afraid that if an NFL team was permanently to be there, especially if that team did well, obviously if that team goes there and just absolutely sucks, that might not have the same sort of effect. But if it goes there and if it's good, they win games, how conceivably that could really sort of cut into, because once again the CFL already isn't as big. It's there's weeks when they're fighting, to get a decent rating as it is.
Absolutely, you can't blame them for feeling that way. But I'm also trying to think about like what the NFL's future is, because I think it's going to be more international games. I think they'll eventually go to 20 weeks in total with 18 games and 2 bye weeks. I think they're eventually going to do that.
Well, the other market that they've been growing, though, I think they could put more time and energy into it, is of course the Hispanic / Mexican Latino market. It's a growing fan base inside the United States, but also it's a growing fan base in Mexico. The Raiders, of course, as well as Dallas, are popular in Mexico for reasons that are probably fairly easy to guess, and Arizona to a slightly lesser extent, because they just aren't the same. They aren't the same power brand.
Right.
Even though the proximity is there, they just don't attract the same sort of attention.
They haven't done any games. They didn't do a game in Mexico City this year. They're not going to have a game until 2026.
Right.
Because they're remodeling Estadio Azteca for FIFA. So I do wonder if but they might need to expand the number of games from 1 to 2, probably.
And then have this not just play action. Again, I love how he sells it.
If they want to make that a big deal.
He's already able to. DJ Johnson has no chance to stay with Quebec.
Right. I mean, it's something I think they should at least consider. And Mexico may not be close to everybody. It's not far from some of the Southwestern teams, but it's nowhere near as far as fill in the name of whatever European. Whether you're talking about London, whether you're talking about Paris, whether you're talking about Rome, or you're talking about, like I said, Frankfurt, Stuttgart.
A lot of it would be in like the
Berlin,
central
whatever.
time zone, like Mexico City, Monterey. Those areas would be central time. Like Tijuana would be Pacific.
Right. And these are places that are relatively easy to get to.
Playing complementary football, defense and special teams, and quarterback taking care of the ball. That's been
For a team that's in, Arizona, for the Phoenix Cardinals, it's easier on them than a game they'd be playing against the Giants. So it's a very doable to play more games than they're playing now in Mexico. And the other internal market that they have a chance to grow and are working on growing is, of course, women. The popularity amongst women has increased over the past 25 years by something like 80% in terms of regular watching.
Yeah.
So, and some of that's generational. The last couple of generations of women have been more open to not just watching casually, but everything from fantasy football to, really deep dives of X's and O's. There's a couple of Twitter spaces on X, I guess, a couple of X spaces that go on where it's women's space, where they bring on people with deep expertise to go into the real details of X's and O's in football. So the level of engagement, not just the sheer number, but the passion, or however you want to call it, the level of interest has really grown. I see a big increase. Now something like 44% of American women between the ages of 54 and 18.
So 18 to 54.
Yeah, regularly watch. And then there's a number. I'm trying to think what the number is, but there's a number. It's a smaller number, but amongst those, something like, but it's still a good number. Something like 27% consider themselves to be passionately involved. Like they tailgate, they, like all this other stuff. I mean, so and that's a number that would have been less than half that, even just 25 years ago. So they've had a lot of success in growing the game internally, also with women and some of the other communities that were not recognized and were not, welcomed the same way that they are now.
Besides, speaking about women, besides Amy Trask, and you know where I'm going with this, are there any other women throughout, NFL or professional football history that have a case for Canton?
That's a great question. I mean, conceivably in the broadcast side, you've got people like Jeannie Morris, right, who was the first woman football, broadcast American-born woman to.
Come on, I don't want broadcast. I want like full-blown busts. That's then when I say that, I think those honorary words are nonsense. I unless it's a bust, I don't care.
Got it. Well, that's a little tougher. I mean, we talked about obviously our good friend Amy Trask, who was an amazing person, and she's obviously the one I'm most focused on getting that level of recognition first. But I'm trying to think of who else would.
Maybe Val Bidwell has a case.
I mean, that's a maybe. I mean, Virginia McCaskey maybe also.
She was a semifinalist. She was some Bears fans wanted.
Right.
The downside is that the issue is that a lot of Bears fans literally want to see her die. That's the downside. They legitimately want to see her die. That's the thing.
Which is awful. Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of Bears fans are that great. At least the ones I find online.
Right. Well, that's sort of a self-selection issue in terms of there's some contamination in the pool of respondents there, to use surveying terms. You'd want a control group, to measure that against.
Well, yeah, but they say, oh, you put it in Virginia. Like, if I spoke to Jeff about it, he was so angry when I mentioned Virginia, for instance.
I know. I'm trying to think of other women that,
I know you're probably not shocked that he felt that way about Virginia.
I am not at all. At some point, if, let's say, the Lions turn it around, maybe Sheila Ford Hamp in the future. I mean, obviously that'd be many years in the future, but the Lions have been positively awful for a very long time, and since she's been running the show, it's looked a heck of a lot better. Now, it would take more than just looking better. They'd have to at least get to a Super Bowl and preferably win a Super Bowl to, and really maybe more than one to give her a very good chance at a full induction with a bust and everything.
Thursday night football on Prime.
Yeah, it's
the
a tough way to
name,
go. I mean,
the broadcaster that probably has a real case. I understand, but there's some Roselle winners that have full blown inductions, like Sable has,
right?
Gifford, Summerall, and that's not Summerall yet. I wish he did. Madden Arledge was a semifinalist. Deerdorf is in.
Yep. As a player, but yeah, he's in.
But I'm pretty sure that helped. Wouldn't shock that it helped. What's her name? Yeah, Leslie Visser. I think she could have she might have a case.
Maybe, yeah. I hadn't even thought about Leslie Visser. I was thinking about other people, but I could see her getting some consideration.
Okay, so now going back to the game, now that Zennie's here, I think the Bears just punted it back to the Panthers.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bear down, Chicago Bears. You're only ahead by 3 points as it is. And the Panthers just picked up a first down, and so terrible.
The Panthers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next candidate for expansion in the National Football League, London. Watch.
I think. What do you think?
We should have Dave Squires on. He's our London guy, by the way.
Yeah, one last name from the question you asked before, Vinny. I think Georgia Frontiere is somebody else who would maybe have an outside shot as well.
I think Carol Rosenblum has a better case, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What's the discussion?
Oh, we just say legendary women that have a case for Canton, and we mentioned Amy Trask and a few others.
Amy's got to be
number one. Yeah,
if not number one, then close though.
Yeah.
I was going to mention this. This is in regard to international games. The NFL said in the discussion with Peter King, I forget who the person he was speaking to with the NFL was, 3 games in London, 1 game in Munich, and then 1 game in either Rio or Madrid. More likely it's going to be Madrid. They're saying that the Panthers would host the game in Munich more likely than not, and the Panthers would host the game in Madrid more likely than not. And, of course, the Jaguars would have a game that they would host in London like they do every year. That being said, what 2 franchises do you think will host a game in London in 2024? I think it's going to be the Vikings and the 49ers.
Let's see here.
Vikings and 49ers.
I think it will be.
It has to be 2. It both have to be NFC teams.
I think it'll be the. I'm going to pick the Giants and the Bears.
Well, the Bears are going to be playing a game. They're playing the game in Madrid, so someone else has to.
Say again, please.
The Bears already have a game in international.
Okay,
they'd be playing in Madrid. So the Giants for one of them. What?
Giants and Packers. In other words, I think it's going to be a classic NFL matchup.
Well, no, they wouldn't be facing against each other. Like, who would give up a home game over there? I think it'd be the Vikings and the Niners because they claimed international rights to London. And the Vikings did play a game there in 2022 against the Saints. I think they'd play against them, except this time they'd give up a home game.
So what's the range? If it's not those 2, which others?
If it's not them, then we're in for a bit of a curveball. because those seem like the two most likely.
Ooh. Wait a minute. Could this be a Tom Brady-esque drive for that man, Bryce Young?
Maybe.
Are we taking bets on this?
Would be
I'm
cool.
betting no, but hey, that's a Texas route.
It would be cool in a primetime game in Chicago with all these rabid Bears fans. No,
I think they're actually more sleepy than rabid.
Well, I'm
there I go. Look,
I'm using the term rabid very loosely in this case because they're probably just tired.
They're rabidly tired. How's that?
Yeah. Oh, it could be pretty interesting. They might cover this one, the Panthers, if they don't. I'd say if it's not them, I don't know. There's a part of me that says that the Commanders could potentially play one. That'd be interesting if the Commanders, especially with their new
Montez Sweat doing. Anybody keep track?
He's generated some pressures. He's forced Bryce to move. Hasn't managed to sack him yet, but he's definitely gotten some pressures. He's a very different athlete from the other guys. Like you could see in the way he gets off the ball, his arm length. They've needed a player like him. Now Montez Sweat's still a number 2 as opposed to number 1, but in the land of the Chicago Bears, the number 2 is king. They just don't have a tilt the field type pass rusher. They'll either have to find that guy in free agency and do have a lot of money to spend or draft for it.
I have nothing against Montez Sweat as a player. My main question is why would the Bears trade for him when they're trying to be bad? Or they're trying to be bad or not?
They're not trying to be bad.
Well, yeah, not trying to be bad. I'm just kind of surprised that the Bears would also give him that huge contract.
The whole reason this whole idea that a team is tanking is overblown is if I'm a sponsor and I've got contests going on and I've got agreements going on that are based on performance, touchdowns, and so on, and I'm trying to there's a better visibility for my product. Hey, there's Dave Compton. Dave Compton.
That's right. You do need a star. You need a star to really sell your advertisers on because
but hold time out. Our man is here. Mr. Compton. Thank you for the 5-ball. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Hey, everyone. Any comment on the game tonight. I was out at a dinner date with the wife and we enjoyed it.
You're not missing much.
We've been talking about everything, man. So where'd you eat? First of all, where did you eat? And is it a place you recommend that we visit on our trip to wherever you happen to be? To which he is typing. I can hear him going clickety clack, clickety clack, clickety clack. More like clack, 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 clack.
One of those things.
Like, maybe in his case it's clack, 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 clack. Come on, Dave.
We know you, Dave. We know what you do.
Oh man.
We know your game there, Dave.
Or maybe it's no clack at all.
Maybe.
Clickety clack, don't come back. Yakety yak, right?
Clickety clack, cows that type. Classic book, by the way.
Oh, by the way, speaking of, here it is. Dave and Buster's.
Oh, okay. That could be fun.
Wow. So Dave, that's date night.
Yeah.
So what do they have? What's the?
There was a linebacker named Jim Clack, right? Jim Clickety Clack.
Yeah. But what is the meal of choice at Dave and Buster's?
I mean, you kind of surprised Dave and Buster's. So
there's nachos,
gummy bears. I mean, what?
Gummy.
I don't know.
I haven't been to Dave and Buster's in years, so I couldn't tell you.
The last time I was at Dave and Buster's was in Hollywood for the Academy Awards for like that long. Actually, no, I videoed it, and then I went outside to make a vlog about the Oscars, and I wound up interviewing other people. That was the only time. Okay. Fourth and 2, folks. Hold everything. Watch this. Wait. Uh-oh. We have a trips. Trips right, slot left, go to the slot. Oh, first down.
Hmm.
And Bryce Young's Tom Brady imitation continues
Indeed.
with a $1.54 left on the clock. And the in out. I love this. Wow, wide open. I love that pattern. Popularized by Bill Walsh.
Indeed. The legend himself.
Yeah. Well, I have a bunch of those in my Eagle offense playbook. Okay, back to throw again on first and town, and he's under pressure, he underthrows. Okay, so now the odds perk up, folks. Do you think Bryce Young will score a touchdown on this drive? Mr.
That's an
Carroll.
interesting question. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't.
My guess is no.
I think they'll at least get a field goal.
A field goal, right? But a field goal allows them to tie it up.
Well, don't they need to hurry it up in that case?
Definitely.
No. They want to slow it down because they don't want to give the ball back with,
you get tied and go to overtime. I get you.
Yeah, they're trying. They want to use up about a minute and 40 seconds and then kick a field goal.
All right. Back to throw is Mr. Young and no, overthrown. A badly thrown deep ball. 3rd and 10. 2 more downs to live. Uh-oh. Will Bryce Young come through?
On rookie.
Mr. Compton answers after finally typing very slowly, King Kong style. Just kidding. We can hear those loud clickety clacks. Barbecue Philly cheesesteaks and so on. That actually sounds pretty good there. Gotcha. I like it. Hey, Dave, do you think Bryce Young burnishes his Tom Brady credentials on this drive or not? I'm already wrong. I didn't think he'll get as far as he's getting. So I'm going to say he's going to get the first down. All right. Yeah, if he doesn't get the first down, he's going to kick the field goal. Don't die on us, Bill.
Well, if they can, they almost had an interception, but yes, they managed to hold off.
Are you ahead of me?
Maybe.
Haven't snapped. Now here's the snap, and there's the almost interception. Got it. That was stupid. That was a dumb. Well, he wasn't open, and it was a dumb call. I mean, I would prefer the glance pattern. You know what? Why not go back to that zigzag pattern they had, right?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it worked.
It can't hurt.
No. I mean, it's not. They could have ran the same play, but they could have ran it to the other side, right?
Yeah. Like that.
Well, I mean, if something works, don't go away from it. Oh, here we go.
You also don't want to make it too predictable either. So.
Uh-oh. Wah, wah. Wah, wah. Wah, wah. Wah, wah. He missed it.
Yep. So maybe not quite as much revenge as Eddie Pinheiro was hoping.
You suck. Oh, man, so bad.
Wah, wah, wah.
Bryce Young's bid for Tom Brady-esque fame fades yet again.
Well, to be fair, their only win this season literally came from a Pinheiro field goal, and another loss comes from a Pinheiro field goal. Oh God! The one thing there is that the Panthers in a way did win because the spread was -3.5 for the Bears. So in a way, you could say the Panthers won, assuming that the Bears don't extend.
The Bears have to get a first down though.
Yeah, they would need that, but. I guess you could say the Panthers won, but, in a way, the Bears won in reality because by them winning, They still have a top 5 pick, and the Panthers at the moment,
This game isn't over yet.
Assuming the Cardinals don't lose against the Falcons.
Wait. This game isn't over yet. Wait. Oh, Dave says, I have not seen the game due to me going to look at something better. The Marbles start in 5 minutes.
It's Panthers.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought the Marbles on Disney Channel, or is the
No, the Marvels it's in the theaters right now.
Well, he says it starts in 5 minutes.
Well, it's the world premiere. Usually it's like Thursday night preview.
But look at what he says. He says, Dave, are you at the theater?
Yeah, he's at the theater right now. He's there for the night previews for the new.
Did he say he was?
Yeah, he's like there. It's Thursday previews for games like movies that begin.
But when did he say he was there?
Probably there for the line outside, I assume. Because
Dave, are you at the movies now?
I assume he is.
I hate assuming things. I want an answer.
Yeah.
He's at his house. See, I told you don't assume. He's at his house.
Oh,
there's Mr. Tepper. Dave's a cool guy.
He's at his house. Then how is he able to watch the movie if it's in theaters right now?
Answer. It's on the Disney Channel.
Oh,
I have the Disney Channel.
I see.
That's how.
Like a stream or something. Maybe it's like a Disney Plus thing, I think. I don't know. I'm not
Right,
sure.
we have Disney Plus here.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, 3rd and 7. This is it. Do or die. Bears, first down. Game over.
Yep. Now they can run up the clock.
Yeah, that's game over. Bears win.
Well, gentlemen, that is another game done. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears.
And it's a big one because it puts them in position, at least for the moment, to receive the 1st and 3rd overall selections.
Indeed. Round of applause to the men wearing the orange today, and they squeezed all the attention out of this game, and they had a wonderful touchdown, their only touchdown of this game.
They are 1-7, man.
Yes, this game was a game. This was a football game that people played, and it was on TV that people were able to watch on.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I know it seems like I'm kind of like being harsh, but like, come on. Let's unfortunately next week's Thursday night game is going to be a really good one. It's going to be the Bengals and the Ravens.
Right.
So, man, that game was rough. I'm sorry, it was rough. Okay, we have Panthers, Bears, then we have Bengals, Ravens, and then
Bear down, Chicago Bears.
Then we have
play clear the way to
victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears.
A fight with the mic so we'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation. Formation
with your T formation.
And let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois. The Bears, bear down.
Chicago Bears. Hey, this is the most exciting thing that's happened in the entire game. Give us some slack.
Well, first of all, this is the first game of the season where the Bears didn't have a turnover, did not have allow an offensive touchdown, and did not allow a sack.
Yeah, honestly, the Bears played really clean. And
of course, it's the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, you better win against the Panthers.
True.
Man, I can't believe I picked this team to be I can't believe I picked this team to be a threat for a wild card spot.
The thing about it is that the Panthers do some just stupid things. I mean, you have a play. You've got trips right, slot left. You have the inside slot guy. Actually, you have the split end running a slant sideline. It works. You
Mhm.
pick up 10 yards. So then you go back. You need what, guys? 10 yards, right?
Right.
Yes.
But do you go back to that play, basically just turning the play the other way? No.
No.
I mean, you run a play that sends the receiver into a crowd in the middle of the freaking defense. You ask your quarterback to throw there by progression, and you expect a magic out of it. That's insanity, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
No wonder they're in bad shape. God.
Nope, it's not a shock at all. It's just
It
like
is not.
it's well. Fortunately, starting week 13, they're going to start flexing Thursday night games. Week 13's after Dolphins Jets on Friday. They have Seahawks Cowboys, was going to be a good one. Week 14, you have Patriots Steelers, which feels like a flex game in the terms of the Patriots perspective. Chargers Raiders, that can go either way. Then you have Saints Rams, again, that can go either way. And Jets Browns can go either way. And that's it, gentlemen. That's all the games.
There we go. All right. Well, guys, let's say we close this one out.
Yeah, I'd say that was a successful day of football.
It was.
Indeed.
Mr. Compton, thank you very
much.
Very
Yes.
much. Yeah, next time we have to throw you a lifeline. Okay. Hey, everybody, stick around in the background. That ends this show. That ends the stream, brother. We'll see you on the weekend.
Yes, we will.
Barring something. Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to do a vlog on the Las Vegas Grand Prix, that's going to be a huge thing. Get on it.
Ooh, if only I lived in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm going to do one tonight. All right. And it's a stream.